the stream.
Somebody check it if y'all don't mind. I have too
Right.
much shit open right now making noise.
Streams live, as always, with any stream from the Bane of Ancients DnD. It shows up last on the two-hand stream, so I encourage any and all other players to check it for me. Actually, take that back. I can hear myself. And I can hear Miller.
It's definitely live, but I see that there's a camera missing.
What? And who might that be?
No, that's because you have a fourth player on the overlay.
Yeah, that's Fire Iceman. Don't you know about Fire Iceman? Alright,
incredible. Alright. Hello, folks, and welcome to the table. My name's Miller, and tonight I will be your dungeon master. Along with me at the table, we have...
Oh, sorry. Hi.
I was like, just excited. You're
random fire ice elf man.
There's like 4 swole elves across the entire continent.
Two hands, also known as Fire Iceman. Playing Triniac Ballister, who is a real thick and chonky elf. What class am I? I'm a wizard. I'm a spell singer. No, blade singer wizard. First time playing blade singer. Thanks for having me.
I'm J. Crew. My tooth hurts. Sorry for putting my hand in my mouth. I forgot we were live. I'm playing Abi, the Forge Cleric of Forgery, who is an Earth Ganassi.
Oh.
Incredible.
Hello, everyone. I go by Ludria. I'm playing Pine, your local druid. Shapeshifter shifter.
Shapeshifter shifter.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
And thank you for tuning in for session... What session is this? 2? Or 3?
2 if you count. I mean, it's our third session, but...
Sure. Session 2 of Ashes of Xeralia. Previously, our party, finally making it to Stillreach, has begun to explore the town a bit and has visited the Wacky Wyvern Adventuring Guild, where, as we left off, I do believe you were questioning the blacksmith on several things going around. Alaric was able to find the location of Darrigan's office, where he is to visit, and Aliana has went to the palace. All right, and so I'll kick us back off, because I don't know if y'all were done here on the Wacky Wyvern map. And you were talking to this feller down here.
Ah, yes. All I know is his name is not Fire Iceman.
It is not.
Oh, my lungs. Sorry.
So you questioned this guy about a lot of the stuff that was going on last session, about the undead that's been attempting to raid Stillreach. Hasn't been very successful so far. He doesn't know much about it. He did go ahead and commission the wire for his name is Tammy. That is
Tammy
correct.
the Hammer. That's right.
Yes.
Tammy the Hammy.
Love Tammy the Hammy.
But he did go ahead and commission for the copper wire for Abi. And yeah, you had questioned him about some things going on in the town here. Did you guys have anything else for this man?
You know, I think that we had pretty much made his day with that super tasty ultra bacon.
Yeah, how dare?
You did. He ate about half. He ate about half of the strip that you gave him, and he's saving the rest. He really wants to get at it, but he's not a wasteful person. So
yeah, got to share some with the old lady back home, right?
At least he's gonna say he will. He'll probably eat it himself. Let's be fair.
I'm good with Tammy the Hammer. I think that we've gleaned all that we can from him.
Do I have access to the forge? Can I just go forge whenever I'd like, or is there like an open forge that I can kind of go to?
We can make you a schedule. You schedule some time for you in there. It has to be kind of out of peak operating hours as we currently have the forges roaring, but we can definitely give you some time in there.
Oh, okay, that'd be great. I would really appreciate that very much. And then that's
Would you
about
like to
everything
schedule
I-
a time? I'll put it on the books.
Yeah, could you do it for every single night at 10 p.m.?
I can do tomorrow night at 10 p.m., the following night at 10 p.m. Unfortunately, on Frigisdag, Friday, we have somebody else who is scheduled for just 2, 3, and 4. But again, on Saturday, you would be good.
Who's scheduled? Is he someone I know?
It just has his guild ID down. I'm not familiar with him. I probably wasn't working when he scheduled it.
Fair enough. I just wanted to know, the forging circles are quite small, so...
Well, growing ever larger with this current predicament we're in and the vast amount of weaponry that needs to be made in such a short time.
Sounds like
have
you're not the only one that likes to smash late at night.
That is true. I love to smash things with my hammer.
This
Late
was a
at night.
family-friendly show until about 30 seconds ago.
Oh, wasn't. I already marked this. This stream is not for kids. Trust me, that's a setting that I always hit no on.
Incredible.
But I can put you down for tomorrow and Wednesday. I'm sorry, tomorrow and Thursday. Tomorrow.
Completely fine with me. Do you have glass blower supplies?
I do not.
Here,
Not
like in
something-
the forge, like do you have like a glass blower's forge?
That
No,
how
we
it's
don't.
made?
We don't really deal with that at all. That would probably be more in the private sector.
Oh,
I don't think anyone here makes glass on site.
Be pretty intense if they did.
What were you
Even our-
saying?
Even our apothecary, I'm pretty sure, buys his flasks. Doesn't make them.
Pine actually knows how to make glass. I can tell. It's on the tip of his tongue.
No, I
Uh.
am confused. You blow glass? How did?
I blow a lot of things. You see, I'm a forge smith. It's kind of like our thing. I make massive blows with my hammer.
Do you have lungs? You're made of rock.
Probably. That's why I get like sulfur-infused gases into my glass pieces. It's really quite beautiful.
And stinky.
He just photosynthesizes.
That'd be pretty intense.
Gonna look to Tammy and be like, please don't mind us.
Well, are we done here?
We
I like
shouldn't
that.
keep you any longer. Pine, unless you have any business with this fine gentleman.
None.
I have you on the books for tomorrow and Thursday, and whenever you can come by and pick up your copper, it should be done on Friday, I do believe.
Nice.
Grand.
I believe we were going to make sure that we are invited to this shindig. What is it? The Red Lord of Xeralia?
Yeah, Alark's going to his office.
Right. And was there anything we needed from the markets on the way? Somebody, I feel like, mentioned they were looking for something particular. Maybe they didn't, and I'm just senile.
I kind of remember that too, but I don't remember who it was. I want to say it was Alu, but was there something you were looking for?
I don't think so. But I do have vague. I'll let you know if it comes up. No.
Well, shall we then?
Alrighty then.
As a
Alrighty.
party, is there anything else in the Wacky Wyvern that we wanted to check out? I think we knew that the adventure board was kind of on hiatus because of like the conscription.
Yes, the
We
draft.
should probably get a room before the rest of the other people get here. and have that kind of
Ooh.
scheduled and booked, and so that we can get the cushy room, you know.
You
Bad
make
idea.
a fine point, Abi. Let's talk to the clerk at the front desk. Perhaps book something out for the next month since rates are fairly cheap, just in case.
Sure. So you walk up, and there is a younger woman behind the counter in tattered robes. Looks like a pretty impoverished woman. Good evening, adventurers.
Hello, my dear. We are the Elementalists registered with the Wacky Wyvern. We are looking to book a room for possibly an extended period of time. Us three.
It means poor, Josh.
Ah,
She looks poor. I just didn't want to say poor.
Man, it's a good thing
It
you
looks
saw
like-
that before I did, because I'd have made something wild up.
Looks like
So-
a peasant.
Just to push you guys a reminder, because I think by this time I was waiting on you to say anything last week, and nothing has been said this week either. They do owe you 300 gold from the
true.
caravan trip.
They do. I wasn't sure how that was going to get collected, or if that was upon
You know-
arrival of the caravan or not. So,
Let's squeeze it now.
whoa,
See if we
sorry,
can seek that
wrong
out.
I think it's written on that paper. Did that pop up for y'all?
No.
nope. But
Oh.
if it's on a paper, then I can definitely look at it.
is it
Our
the
guild card? No.
I'm gonna bring you guys back to this page for a second because that's probably why it's not popping up for you.
Oh, there we go.
Cool. All right.
Ah,
Hell yeah.
Oh,
I believe you can take it from this tab or just like push the paper towards her.
Very well. So that will be. You wanted a suite for how many nights?
What's your rates for the fortnight?
For a week's time would be 4 gold for the suite.
I'm just going to look to you all. Shall we?
Yep.
Go in a gold each?
oh, I
I'm
can
fine
cover
by
it.
that.
I will make it all back with my forging supplies, so I will do it. You all keep your money.
Then it is done. Perhaps we should get a payment in gold for our completed guild order while we're here. Would that be
Yes.
a problem, miss?
Not at all. Just give me 5 minutes or so to get everything together,
So 4 gold for the
and
week,
she'll start. Yes, 4 gold for the week.
and then I will
Nice.
I'll give her 5 as the 1 gold for a tip.
Holy
We should make sure that
shit.
they're allowed to have tips. Can you accept
Are
this
you
tip,
allowed to
young
have-
lady?
I've never been given a tip before, but there's no rules against it.
Incredible.
I'll be
Well, then,
generous,
we must
man.
celebrate this momentous occasion.
Her eyes are huge looking at this gold piece.
Here's
So-
another gold. There you go.
she
gold for receiving
she
your best
starts
tip.
grabbing her rogue like she's unsure she's supposed to start taking it off, or
No.
The poor
is
thing.
this
What are you
is this
doing?
the kind
No,
of
keep your
situation
clothes
we're
on.
in?
Nobody wants to see anyone naked.
I mean, I find beauty in the natural, but I,
I get
Um,
ravenous when I find people exposed.
she begins digging around through some coffers, looking for the money that's been taken aside to pay for these caravans. She finally finds the correct coffer and pulls out a bag of it, opens it up, counts everything out on the counter in front of you guys, puts it back in the bag, and hands you a sack of 300 gold.
hell yeah.
Split 3
Now is
ways.
that
that's
split 3
one-
ways? Okay.
We're going to. It's going to be 100, 194 now.
So let me ask this: do you guys want me to make a inventory page for you on your character sheets for like shared stuff, or
I'm good with
I
a
mean-
3-way split for now until we...
This isn't going to
Okay.
be shared stuff. We're splitting this.
which is fine? Also, if you guys want, what I can do, I think everybody, yeah. So you all have permissions for the elementalist if you want to just use the inventory sheet on that for anything like
Oh.
shared inventory,
We'll do
you
that.
can do
then,
that.
if we need to.
Nice.
Just out of
Okay.
curiosity, I know
Mhm.
that the quests are on hiatus, but it might do us well to see what people needed help with before things went south. I just have a hunch, even if it's just for knowledge.
So nothing is actually posted right now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, like they took everything down.
Really, no rogue jobs like.
Well,
posted
so
up.
everything that was posted, which I do actually have some papers, but I don't know how you would access them.
No worries.
The jobs that were, because so here's the way it works, right? If you need to post something in the Wacky Wyvern, and this is why I say it's optional as to whether or not you put your name on the job you post or not, is that you basically go here as a vendor, you would put in the job request, approve the paperwork, and pay the Wacky Wyvern what you owe on that job. So an
Oh.
adventurer that would complete that job would not go to the benefactor of that job for payment. They would go to the Wacky Wyvern itself. Right.
Nice. So they're cutting out the
If it
middleman.
was to secure an item, you would turn that item into the Wacky Wyvern, who would then reach out to the benefactor. So these are the middlemen here. But what basically happened is everyone that had jobs in were paid out, like were refunded for their payment on that job.
Yeah.
And then taken down until they get to a spot where they feel comfortable. There's enough people on the front line and they can quit pulling guilds out to see about it.
Okay, cool. Miss, just out of curiosity, before the jobs were placed on hiatus, were there any benefactors that were both named and possibly quite upset at the hiatus on jobs? Any notable ones that you might remember?
No, there was only one person that was really angered by this, and his name was not public knowledge, so I unfortunately can't tell you who he was. But it was just because something was stolen from him and he really wanted to get it back. But other than that, no. Everyone seemed okay with it, at least as far as I know. I think it was just some decorative family sword or something like that that was stolen from his estate.
Good
Does
to
he
know.
know if it would still be in the town? Just, keep an eye out. Just, I would want something returned to me if it was stolen.
All I know is it was some ruby encrusted ordeal, but I can't give public knowledge of that benefactor.
Of course. I appreciate your time, and I wish you well.
Sure. And she so she takes the payment. You gave her 5 gold, you said, Jay? 6. Holy shit, she's
Just-
rich.
Yeah.
She
Absolutely
hands you
nutty.
guys back 3 keys, like actual brass keys.
Nice.
Each of them have a piece of yarn with a small piece of thin wood on it with like burnt into it room 43, which will be that this is floor 0. Think like British floors.
Yeah.
So your next floor is
4.
floor 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're on the 4th story up from here, room 3.
We got a pit house.
Thank you for picking up the tab, Abby. You were rock solid and dependable as always. Shall we? I think probably good to make our way with old man Jenkins to see if we can social engineer our way into this like strategy meeting.
So you guys all kind of bob and weave. Let me put you back on this map. And put myself back on this map. All right, cool. So you guys kind of bob and weave through the marketplace. Draw tool, freehand. Holy shit, bro! Thank you. Kind of bob and weave your way out of the market and find your way here. This building here is what was described to you as Darrigan's office. As you guys approach, there are people everywhere. More so than were in the markets. They all seem to be younger people. I think a safe conclusion to you guys is that this is a school of sorts. This entire block here.
Oh, nice.
Alaric, upon approaching the door, begins to knock, and an older fella answers the door, dressed in white and off-white robes, with a medallion of the Xeralian seal on it. Yes, can I help you? And Darrigan looks at him and says, Alaric looks at him and says, I am Alaric from Oxmera, and Darrigan has been expecting me. These have traveled with me from Xeraxon. He should be awaiting our presence. Yes, come right on in, and opens the door.
What a G. Just went with it and brought us in.
Dude, I'm going to give them a nice little bow, you know?
Oh, this guy's a peasant that answered the door, but sure.
Oh, okay. I'll give him a little bow. Be like, all right.
You know, he still let us in.
Let me.
Hey.
Can y'all see the map?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure when I turned off, because originally I did for some stupid ass reason I did dynamic lighting on this map and was like, that's really not needed.
You're like,
That's
wait,
great.
nah.
Oh, where'd everybody go?
Well, it was mostly to hide the stuff that was like
That makes sense.
weird.
Yeah. Stuff you don't want us to see right away.
Yeah, but
That's all right. We don't know shit.
there we go. All right, pull the party token. And a large token. The guy leads you down a hallway, big massive hallway. As you look around, the bottom floor of this place seems to be very education oriented. On the walls there are what looks like parchment scrolls, some containing, as all of you are spellcasters, what looks like studies of a spell, like something that was trying to be constructed. Does it work? Who knows? Different things like that. You do see decorative artworks of, the symbol for conjuration, the symbol for enchantment, the symbol of illusions, stuff like that. All your different magical ward symbols around here, just in decorative works of art hanging on the wall. The walls are also adorned with very nice lanterns, with decorative brackets securing them to the wall. As he leads you in to this section here, you see large, beautiful rugs displayed out along the floor with nice red silk furniture and silver and gold backings, at least coated. Everything in here looks very nice, very rich.
Nice.
He eventually...
What was this building called again?
This is Darrigan's office.
Okay.
This is actually his office, his home, his study, everything. But
Dang.
this is just known as his office.
Okay.
And you guys saw that this is a 3-story building walking in, if you count the windows going up. But, he does get to this door and knock. And are these... Oh, it doesn't matter. The dynamic lighting's not on. I still have all the door symbols and shit everywhere right here. He does knock on the door and kind of gives you guys a hand signal to wait. Sticks his head in and Master Darrigan, one by the name of Alaric, is here to see you. And you hear a bright, surprisingly young voice from behind the door. Oh, send them in. And he opens the door. As everyone steps in the room, to your fright, oh, not you.
Hey.
Double
Straps-
doors immediately. Roll
Strapped to the table Strapped to the table is one of these fellas, still
Nice.
alive,
Oh, nice.
with sapphired eyes, strapped to this table over here. Along with him in the room is a middle-aged gentleman standing here who is dressed in very nice garbs. Looks to be someone of a pretty high status. Darrigan, this character here,
What a legend.
turns and embraces Alaric in a hug. Him and Alaric have a little bit of back and forth, just kind of getting reacquainted as you guys kind of just look around the room. This room seems to be a study. There are books to the southernmost portion of it. There is a pedestal here with a book upon it. And then there is this table currently with shackles pressed into it, holding this undead down.
Hell yeah.
So as Alaric and Darrigan are kind of catching up, are you guys saying anything?
Yeah,
Doing anything?
I'd be happy to introduce myself, but I don't want to interrupt them. Does it look like they're having a moment?
They're just catching up. They're speaking loud enough for you to hear, but from the sounds of it, Alaric was actually Darrigan's teacher for quite some time. So the two of them know each other pretty well.
Oh, nice. And this other guy, is he here too? This guy with the nice white robes?
He is.
Sweet.
This guy here.
Has he introduced himself yet?
He has not. He has stayed
Cool.
quiet. He is currently looking over this thing on the table that they're currently studying. But he is definitely not touching it.
Gotcha. I'll chime in. Nice to meet you. I'll extend a hand. Triniac, Ballister.
And that is to the gentleman to the south? Here?
Yeah. I don't want to interrupt these two.
He kind of looks over at you and stiffens himself up, improves his posture as he extends his hand. It is nice to meet you. My name is Lord Heath Pagel, nobleman of Xeralia. I am a third cousin to the king, here to just lend my aid of sorts. And he keeps looking over to the thing on the table that is constantly...
I see. You are preoccupied containing the beast.
I am more of just staring at it, waiting on Darrigan's results, I guess. They've had quite the adventure with these things, it seems.
As have we. And I'll motion to Abby and Pine.
Have you? What is your experience with them?
Like 12 of them.
One
with
second,
my
I'm trying
hammer.
to fix my mic here. What is your experience with them?
Murder, mainly.
Accurate.
They murdered one of you.
No, we
No.
murdered them.
Many.
Well, by the looks of it, they're already dead. I don't know if it's really murder at that point.
Oh, I mean, I have discovered a little bit about them. I was watching the way they were moving, and when they seemed to have a weird feral sense of them, and so when we were sitting there watching them, just from a distance, they were just kind of walking like dead do, you know, and they just kind of like stiff and all. But the minute they like got track of our scent or whatever it was that maybe might have sent them into some frenzy, they became more human-like.
Darrigan, are you hearing this? And you see Darrigan as he's speaking with Alaric, and he kind of turns. What's that?
I will repeat myself.
Interesting. Unfortunately, we've only ever seen them when they were on the attack. I didn't know that they had a more passive side.
We would be happy to regale you with what we've seen on our journey.
That would be much helpful. We have discovered, with the loss of one of my employees last week, that they do indeed explode, which is quite the development. When you pull out the gems in their eyes, that was interesting.
You've answered one of my 5 questions.
And my question is, when it did explode, did the eye gems explode itself, or was it the actual brain cranial cavity of that one?
So he walks to this podium here and pulls a small drawer out. And he says, well, we only pulled one of the eyes out, and that one didn't explode. And he just show you a gem shaped like this to a sharp nail point that is about 5 inches long.
I was going to ask, because didn't you say there's like a certain type of weapon that's made out of gems?
Crystal weapons, yes.
The crystal weapons, yes.
Is it very similar to that?
No, because crystal weapons don't use gems. They use crysts. We've never seen anyone imbue magic in a gemstone. A cryst is a separate type of crystal to which the weaponry is named after.
So with that, what is the odds and the chances there that perhaps these are... May I inspect the gem?
Sure, but don't take it out of this room.
Of course.
And he'll hand it over to you.
I'd
Like I say, it's about 5.5 inches long. On its thickest side, like it comes to like a pencil point, like it is specifically shaped to be like a nail. On its widest side, it is about that big around.
Now, Chris itself is mined, if I'm correct, right?
It is.
Okay. I'd like to look for any man-made features in the chemistry or like the kind of, like crystal growing and such like that. I want to see if this is a magically created crystal or if it's natural.
Okay. Roll me first nature and then arcana.
9 and dirty 20.
Okay. So looking at the gem to see if it's natural or not, it looks like a natural sapphire. Not that the natural sapphire grew specifically shaped this way, but it would look like it was a chunk of a sapphire that was shaped to look like a nail. You can see, well, you as a craftsman easily see, the chiseled marks going down, and just from the way it's shaped, that steepens it in. You can kind of see the strokes in it to shape it in such a way. Magically, with a roll that high, I will say that this just confuses the shit out of you. Like the layers of magic that you detect on this single crystal is insane. Things that you didn't even know were possible. You do get, you kind of see the weave pushing necrotic spells. You see illusionary spell. You also see divination spell over it, though you can't, because the weave over this magic is so delicately intertwined, it's hard for you to tell exactly what necrotic spell is affecting the crystal versus exactly what divination spell is affecting it and how they're layered. But you can tell it's very intricate. It took a hell of a mage to do this.
Forgive me, I can't say your name, two hands.
It's a Triniac.
Triniac. Triniac, this seems like it might be a bit more of your specialty. There's a couple of spells that are kind of listed over this, and you're really good at identifying those things. Myself, though, were you aware that these were man-made and chiseled into this shape that they were, Mr. Dragneer?
Yes, we were.
Oh, okay.
That's the first thing we were able to tell. I've been trying to decipher the spells that are going through it. But some of them seem to be customed, as if the spell was specifically created for this. So we're having some difficulty with it, but we've only been at it for a few days. So
a good source told us. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm finished. Please, a source told you something
source
useful.
Told us that there is at least 7 different layers of enchantment on these crystals alone, not including the other schools of magic that my associate detected.
It's very possible. It's Alaric, there was supposed to be somebody with you, wasn't there? Someone of Elderon, right? Well, but she went to the palace. From my understanding, she was not here for the same reason as I. But her visit at Oxmara proved fruitful, and she decided that on her way out through Radcliffe, she would stop here and speak with the king of Xeralia. Shame. I've heard all of Elderon knows more about magic than even some of our Archmagi. So this thing is still on the table. You hear it cutting into your conversation. Everyone is currently having to kind of raise their voice to be understood and heard.
Makes sense.
As this thing is just snarling on the table.
And how long have you all been under attack by creatures such as this?
Only for the past week or so.
And in this week, would you mind giving us a recap of what you have learned in case there's anything that we can save time on by not mentioning?
Well, so we've only actually captured 2 of them, because if you kill them, they explode. The first one we captured, we laid down on the table that was previously here, and we attempted to extract the eye gems out of it. Unfortunately, once we pulled the one that your friend has there, the other one exploded, and it, we spent several days cleaning this place. Blood and guts and nasty necrosis everywhere. And then this one was captured with the attack last night, so we've yet to begin to discover it. We're afraid whatever we do to it, it will explode again, to be fair.
Have you tried removing the gems at the same exact time?
No, I haven't. I'm kind of scared.
Fair
They
enough.
removed one, right? And it did not detonate?
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe if they remove both of them, maybe those are the detonators.
Well, at what point did the original one explode?
It seems... we're unsure, and I've started to kind of look through several of these weaves, and one of them, which is an enchantment, seems to be that if they separate at all, that they explode. But there's also another weave in here that has an explosion. I'm assuming that is if the creature ceased to exist, but I don't know that for sure. I haven't been able to, really work that weave out to see what that enchantment does. And it's just everything's so intricate. We're a bit afraid to just poke and prod randomly.
Well,
I have an odd question.
Go ahead, Pine.
it seems it hasn't exploded, though you've bound all of its movement. How long have you had it here?
About an hour or so. 2 tops.
They're not that hard to restrain, though they are magically inclined.
This one did explode a few things on its way in.
Though it stopped.
Yes, it kept causing almost like magical explosions. Not its eyes exploding, but it causing explosions.
Yes, we noticed that too.
Yeah, and it was ice everywhere. Very odd.
Gosh, I can't remember as a player, but Pine would go over we noticed that there are similarities. There was lightning for this one, and then they have different elements that seem to correspond with the gemstones.
That's very helpful, actually. And he pulls the book off his podium and begins writing some notes down. Do you know exactly what gems were in the other ones and what they were able to do?
That's gonna be on you, Avi. I is not good at gems. That one was blue. That one was green. That's the extent of.
If that's the information you give him, that's what he'll write down for sure.
I recall there was ruby, opal, and what's the green stone?
Jade, emerald?
Emerald. Emerald, that's it. I recall facing those 3. I believe
Opal,
the ruby ones.
emerald, and ruby.
The ones with
And
red eyes appeared to be resistant to the fire. I believe they took no damage from my fireballs I cast.
Okay.
Both.
So he'll begin writing down.
It seemed all of these undead had the ability to cast some sort of lightning magic with their eyes. In fact, I don't know how you're preventing this one from doing the same. It was a ranged magic that affected all of us.
So I'll tell you,
It might have ran out.
you're a bit mistaken. You said all of them did lightning. That was not the case.
It was just the frontmost ones.
One of them did poison.
Ooh, one of them did poison.
Ooh, emerald for poison.
One of them was lightning. And the ruby one never caused the explosion.
Gotcha. I'll clarify that then.
Okay.
Ruby is unsure. Have a good guess. Emerald poison. Opal lightning. We can
That's
assume
interesting.
this one is ice. So how are you magically restraining this one from doing such, or are you not?
We didn't restrain it. It's just he stopped. I'm assuming it's like any other wizard, a sorcerer out there, that once you cast something, so many times, you just don't have the energy to do it anymore.
Interesting.
I would be curious to try something.
Same.
Do any
Everyone-
of you know something that can kill or snuff out magic?
Everyone clear the room. I want to attempt
Okay.
something.
Just put the crystal back, Abby. Don't take it out of the room. I also have dispel magic. I'd be interested in trying if it is safe to do so.
That is definitely something we can attempt, but definitely as a last resort. For if we need to study the magic, I'd rather have it there.
Oh, this is an odd question, but when I was a crazy gangle wolf lizard and I munched him, right? Did the flesh taste like it was like just necrosis, like dead and decaying?
It definitely tasted, yes.
Yeah. They taste awful, by the way. Their flesh.
As I assume anything dead would.
Nice.
So at this time, one of the I don't know why I just wanted to call him an altar boy because it's not what he is, but
He is
comes
now.
over and opens the door.
Buckle up.
Lord Pagor also walks through. I assume you guys walk out of the door.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if he's asking us to clear the room, by all means.
So as you do, the door behind you closes. You hear several locks start to make shape. You hear a spell go off. Let me see if it has somatic components. I'm sorry, verbal components.
Yeah, player to player. I'm definitely interested in like casting Identify on the crystal to see if that even works.
It's identify explodes. No.
Yeah. Curious if Detect Magic shows if any magic is on the
It
zombie
does.
or if it's just all in the eyes.
It does have a verbal component. So
Oh, yeah.
and he's speaking loud enough. He's not trying to keep it a secret. So let's see. Is this wizard, sorcerer, and artificer? So unfortunately, not cleric nor druid would really have a reason to know the verbal components for it. But this is Ray of Frost that he's casting. He's just trying to cause cold damage.
Nice.
To kind of see what happens.
That's Ray of Frost, guys.
You hear him do it about 3 times, and then you guys begin hearing the locks and whatnot. Alaric is just kind of standing there, and he's like, "Good idea." Like you can tell, he's able to follow the spells that are being cast, whatnot. And Darrigan does open the door back up for you guys to re-enter.
Nice. So, Darrigan, Was your theory
My
correct?
apologies. I in case it exploded. But he didn't seem to be affected at all by the cold damage. So if the one with the ruby eyes was immune to your fireball, then perhaps the element to which it deals with is contained within the gem itself.
One interesting thing, if your forces are coordinated, they can set each other off in a chain reaction. If they're close when they explode, they all go pop.
I would assume so. It seems that any explosion would, have that effect.
They're also not smart
But
enough to
that
not
does
run
tell
down.
that they're not intelligent enough to keep that sort of separation between themselves.
Yes.
I have another theory as well. I think that these creatures have a limited eyesight, but the eyesight that they have, while be limited, is very good. We observe these undead creatures on some type of patrol, with purpose, moving towards a destination, unsure if that destination was us or the battle that raged behind us, the one that we were moving away from. And we got out of their way in hopes that perhaps we would avoid the encounter and have an easier time getting there. But they stopped and turned towards us and began moving, as Abi said, in a pharaoh-like, very, very not undead way towards us. So it's possible that they are directed by an external force or sent on a direction, and then rely on local senses to find targets of opportunity. Can you tell us a little bit about how the attacks became against the town, against the city? Was it a shambling mass of force, or were they directed, and were they in groups?
I'm not sure. I've been behind the safety of the wall. I'm sure somebody would have that information for you, and we could definitely try to find it. However, based on the eyesight theory, we've been trying to do some tests. Well, trying to develop tests to see the validity of that theory. As many people have said the same thing you have. However, it's always slightly different. Some people say that they've been close before these things began to attack. Others say that they were discovered far off and that these things gave pursuit for a very long distance. All of the ones from the questions that I've asked to the guard, all of the ones that have attacked here seem to have been, as far as the eye can see, heading directly for Still Reach at full speed ahead. So we're trying to devise some tests and figure ways of running them to confirm or deny that theory.
Take an accounting of those who have given reports and separate them by magic users and non-magic users and see if there's any patterns.
Could I also, I have a theory of something that would not damage it in any way, so no one would be any harm, but when I used my divinity channeling to turn and make the undead run away, it seemed more like it was, normally they don't fight that hard, And this one fought pretty hard against it, and so I was curious if I could test it again on this friend here.
You just give this
Sure.
little undead on the table a panic attack.
Sure. Yeah, I don't see the harm in it. It's not like it can actually run away, but before you would do so, let us just secure it down further, just in case.
Good idea.
So he'll turn to one of the acolytes that are in the room and ask, please procure more chain. Yes, sir. And the acolyte will leave the room to return soon.
So, Lord Darrigan, you were the student of Alaric, the Archmagi?
Before Darrigan can even open his mouth, Alaric says, "Prodigy of my
Ah,
class."
Oh
your
my.
best student.
Darrigan speaks up and says, "Well, I come from a long line. My family has been the Red Lords of Xeralia for 4 generations now, and ever since I was young, my father had been instilling in me to really hone in my magical abilities. So by the time I attended Oxmera, I was already pretty well versed in magic, and most of the classes were redundant. Typically, I wouldn't have learned much, but Alaric here, he could see that the work was a bit too easy for me, and he definitely cranked it up."
I'm sure that we are all happy to have you on our side in this conflict.
Lord Pagor, who's been pretty quiet up till this point, why is nobody addressing the elephant in the room? This was a Lauren soldier.
How do you know?
They're killing their own soldiers to turn them into this army.
Doubtful. I know because he's still wearing a Lauren uniform. And you can tell, even though, like, this uniform shredded, like, a normal person would not be able to tell this, but just from the few strips of fabric that kind of remain and are like melded into the fleshy, you know, pieces missing, he's
You
able to
said
tell that it's a Lauren Magi uniform.
Lauren, right? Like the Laura, like the
Right, correct.
Uber jerks. Okay, gotcha.
Uber jerks.
The Uber jerks.
And refreshment as a PC, Laura is kind of like at war with Xeralia,
Yes,
or are they
there
finally
is
on
a
trading terms?
Or with like everybody.
no. They are currently attacking Xeralia at the northern line. That's where the troops of your caravan on the way here were going to the fighting front to assist Xeralia in fighting the Lauren mages.
And so, do we know if these undead also attack the Lauren front lines?
I haven't heard of any of them at the front lines, but I'm also not the person to ask that question to. I've been in Xeralia for 3 weeks now, and for sure, well before these attacks started. So,
Do you know who is in charge of the military command in this war? Does that fall upon the Red Lords?
that is the Silver Lord, Agron Stroker.
And
Stoker, not Stroker, sorry. Stoker.
And does the military of Xeralia have any hand in the defense of the cities, or does that fall on the cities themselves to defend?
They do. However, Master Agron is currently preoccupied with the front lines. I'm not sure who he's left in charge in his absence, but it would probably be fairly easy for me to find out.
It sounds like information could be just as beneficial as military might in these scenarios. You're facing an unknown enemy behind Allied lines, if I'm not interpreting this wrong.
Well, the fact that this one is a Lauren military officer, if that is true, and you can tell Darrigan's face is not doubtful, but he's not considering this as factual information. Does that mean that all of them are? I mean, we really need more samples to know, I guess.
When we were analyzing the undead on the battlefield, because we took time to look over things and try to learn
You did.
things, you said that the trends showed armor and weapons of soldiers rusted and battle-worn. But did we actually determine if there were separate uniforms? Would we have the answer to that question based on the time that we
I tell you what, because you're currently not there and trying to remember back, just give me a history check, not a very high DC.
Remember Simba.
Remember. And that would be a 6.
So you just didn't really pay attention to that while looking through it to actually look for insignia on the uniforms that were in good enough shape to tell what they were.
Okay.
But you guys have only been in town for not even an hour and 20 minutes or so. There's
Yeah.
probably still a pile of bodies out if they haven't started burning it yet. But
It sounds like our first order of business is to collect information on the composition of the undead forces we know have attacked us. Is that fair to assume?
that's what we've been trying to do for the last week or so. It's just we have to do so carefully. I mean, these things are dangerous, and we don't want them to break free on the inside of our inner gates.
It's a good thing you got some guild from the Wacky Wyvern Tavern here to help round up some for you.
So
Well,
goofy.
at the rate we're going, it seems that they've been attacking every other night. So, I assume it won't be much longer. I've definitely put several of the guards with the task of taking some in alive, and we'll be using some dungeons around town, some cellars and stuff like that to hold them in until study is needed. We're afraid, even though there's no merit to this, that if you put them together with nowhere to go, they would start attacking each other, and that would be very bad because when one dies, they explode. So you wouldn't want to level a house with just because a bunch of these things are beneath them.
It's an understandable concern. One thing, Alaric, I'm not sure if you're in the business of helping out your prodigy, but I do believe I saw you cast the fly spell earlier. You could probably pop us over those city walls pretty gracefully, as to cause no potential harm to those guarding the front gates. If an unsuspected swarm appeared, perhaps we could get some more information rather quickly with minimal risk in that endeavor before the next wave approaches based on previous patterns.
I don't think he casted fly. When did that happen?
I thought somebody casted fly when they went up top to look at stuff and looked at
Aliana
Yeah.
polymorphed herself.
She became the owl.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just misremembering something.
And you're like, you should tell me when you do that. She's like, maybe.
You know what? I'm going to keep the misinterpretation and just see what Alaric says. Just wait for him to correct me.
I'm sure I could learn the spell, but I don't have it in my book here. Not the one I
sorry.
carry on me, at least.
It must have been Aliana. My apologies.
I doubt Aliana would cast anything so futile. But I mean, you're not far from the gate if you would want to go run out and take a look real quick.
Yeah. As long as that wasn't your way of saying, it's too dangerous to go look now. Should have looked before.
No. I mean, you just gotta hope they didn't start burning it yet. I mean, that's basically it. They were just rounding up the bodies and piling them up currently. But as I said, you do see the scars on the ground of where they have burnt previous piles of these things.
That makes sense. How often have they been attacking?
Every other night, he said. That was said a few minutes ago.
Okay.
But for the last week, it's been about every other night. They did not see them at all previous to that.
And is it routine when they arrive?
What's routine when they arrive? I'm sorry.
The time of day? Is it?
It seems to usually be at night, but not at the same time every night. So I don't know if there's a pattern yet or not.
Maybe we can talk to the guard about that and get some more information. It'll be critical to our forces that are coming so that they are prepared and informed the best way to defend and what behaviors to expect from the forces they'll be fighting against.
Sure. I mean, if you're formidable enough, perhaps you stand guard with them one night and help them out, and maybe you can help capture a few of them.
I believe that's one of the reasons why we have been called. At least us. I'm not sure if Alaric was on the same mission. Actually, as far as I know, our mission ended when we arrived, but I
Yours
believe
did. You are correct.
I believe that there's always room for additional deals to be made. we have experience
You see,
against these foes.
Lord Pagor kind of turns to you when you see that.
I hope that's a good not a bad I'm just
If you're looking for work, there is no shortage around here.
yeah. I noticed the guilds didn't have many posters up. It sounds like it's all hands on deck fighting on the wall.
Yeah, I believe we're being overly cautious, but we've been sending almost any able-bodied person that'll take gold to go up there and fight off the Lauren front lines. I haven't been to the front lines myself. You know, why would a man of my stature, my status, put myself in such danger? But I don't really know how it's going there. But the fact that they haven't pushed in, from the border, I guess is a pretty good sign.
Yes. So the way I see it, we need more information on the composition of the undead forces that you are encountering. We need to get word of the current situation in your city to the military command and this civil Lord Stoker and his direct line of command, and request need-to-know information on the undead. Check with your forces at the front lines to get a situational report on the attack pattern of those attacking you.
Well, I'm sure that information is somewhere here. I'm not the one in
Perfect.
charge of that, so there's no reason I would have it. I'm just saying that I'm not sure how it's going.
Understandable. And lastly, possibly identifying the actual magic and what is cast on these gems to better understand it. And then perhaps once we've learned all we can about the gems, see if it can be dispelled. And perhaps capture more specimens. If
Alaric will kind of turn and say, "We'll work on unraveling the weave that is this, pardon my dwarvish, but clusterfuck of spells placed upon these gems." I will.
Then.
I will stay and help Darrigan to kind of play through some of this, because I understand the caution to this. We don't want explosions, especially in nicer facilities, as you see a Lart kind of looking around this office that he's very obviously jealous of.
Yes, your prodigy has done well for himself. It would behoove us to keep his home and office intact.
But we'll continue with that, and if you have any input on anything at any time,
yes, Lord Heath,
check in with us.
What's the going rate for assisting with defense of the walls? I believe it's 100 gold, is that right?
Yes, 100 gold for 3 months service.
I see. And what does that consist of?
Fighting daily on the front lines.
And what are the restrictions imposed on any frontline fighter during this time?
In terms of?
Where can they go? Where can they not go?
They can go to the front lines, and they can not go anywhere but the front lines.
So
they're basically buying cannon fodder at this point.
I got that.
It sounds like it, yeah.
But to be fair, and as I kind of mentioned in session 0, this is one of those campaigns where don't believe everything you hear.
Yeah.
You've kind of heard from some of the things that this guy said that he has no business in this. Like this, he's a nobleman, but he's not from here. He was just here when the attack started, so he hasn't left yet because he's afraid to get hurt. So, but he's not privy to that kind of information anyway. So,
who is the one that makes these deals, by the way?
As a DM, I'm asking, what deals are you referring to?
This
like the payment for the front line?
3 months, yeah.
Oh, that's been holy shit. I gotta find the name.
Because I doubt that would be something that would be made with either of these two here. They don't seem like they're in that.
No. It's from the Wacky Wyvern. I'm looking for the
Oh.
owner's name. Uzelian Agar.
Oh.
He's basically forking up the money to help Still Reach.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
it's like all of this is not done by the Xeralian government. As far as like the Wacky Wyvern not taking jobs and all that, that is a decision of the Wacky Wyvern in Still Reach to aid Xeralia.
Gotcha.
And this
thinking
is
perhaps-
also the same guy. This is also the same guy that actually put together the caravan and everything to aid Xeralia. Like reached out to the other nation. Well, Xeralia originally reached out, but he's the one that kind of coordinated everything to put the caravan together where it was leaving from, it being marched into Xeralia. Basically, all of those events were his doing as well.
Since this is specialized work, perhaps we may come to an agreement of our own for more specialized jobs that are more than just cannon fodder at the line. Perhaps a direct dealing. But for now, the least we can do is get you information. Don't you think, Pine, Abby?
I think that would be fine. I think we could definitely do that for you and go and look into all of these things.
Darrigan kind of looks over and says, well, any information is good information. So we would appreciate anything you can bring us. And Lord Pagor looks at you and is like, if you're ever bored of this and just looking for work to bring you elsewhere, get with me. I have plenty that needs to be done.
I would be happy
that's
to.
very kind of you.
And Darrigan does mention for Pagor, like perhaps we should send a messenger down to Southreach to contact House Black. They would probably have some information on this. And Pagor says is precisely one of the things I was thinking.
Yes. Consider who may know more about what we're dealing with and see if you can leverage that. Sounds like it'd be beneficial.
I don't remember offhand, but has anybody ever, like in y'all backstories, dwelled in Xeralia for an extended period of time?
Not
I don't
for
think so, right? Okay. Alrighty.
Well, I'm down with peeping out the front lines and seeing what info we can grab.
Sounds fun to me.
Good
So
to
you know
that,
from when you came in, everything's calmed down right now. They were just piling up bodies, soldiers kind of walking around and cleaning up.
Yeah.
You can tell they were attacked last night, so you're probably good for a while, but you can go poke your head around. I'm sure Tommy, the youthful guard that was there when you guys walked up, would be excited to see you.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, give me 1 second. I need to go to the restroom, and
Nice.
we'll get right into that.
I wish I currently had prestidigitation on me. I could clean up the armor and figure out what shit said.
Yeah, or like mending or something silly.
Mm-hmm.
Really curious if we could slowly kind of parse out ways to effectively just destroy these things, right? Like,
That'd be sweet.
we know they've got a resistance to certain type of elements. Do they have a vulnerability to another, you know? Some Pokemon level shit?
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Yes, specialize in lightning, hit him with a big rock.
Ye old big rock. I love that spell.
You big rock.
Absolutely.
I cast Crowbar at 9th level.
Basically the story of Half-Life.
Yeah. Oh, Half-Life.
Hey, Half-Life 3 is just around the corner.
Any day now.
Any second.
Dude, we're gonna get Half-Life 3 before we get GTA 6.
We'll see.
How dare
We got
you?
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Just how dare you?
Perfect.
You leave Half-Life 3 out of this.
All right, so you guys make your way back out the gate.
Heck yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
Ooh, ow.
they are still piling bodies out around this area here and have not yet begun to burn.
I'm curious, too. Before we check out, I think we should talk to Tommy and just ask him to, on our behalf, and really at the request of Lord Daragon, have the soldiers report to us, or to Tommy to report to us, any information if they recall recognizing any emblems or insignias on any of the forces they fought. We'd have to take it with a grain of salt, but if anyone clearly saw something they recognized, to report it, and then we'll do with the information what we find out, either believe it or question it, and we'll see if it corroborates with what we find.
I'd have some cousin that's like, oh,
Yeah.
I would say you'd have to find him first, but he's easy enough to find. As you guys walk out of the outer gate here, he is back to helping pile up bodies and whatnot. So as you give him that information, he does let you know that it's a mix. The uniforms, some look like Lauren military uniforms. Some look like Xeralian military uniforms. Some look like random adventurers. It's kind of just a mix. But that is definitely something the guards themselves have noticed, as they've been the ones, hands-on, pulling the bodies into a burn pile.
All right. And I think one thing that we should look for are mortal wounds.
Oh, interesting.
So this was actually previously gone over. And
you said that like it's hard to distinguish, right?
The rate of decay
yeah.
is making it hard to distinguish which are post-mortem and pre-mortem wounds. Which I would say, I don't know who here. What would you even fucking roll for that? I guess if anyone wants to give me a basic intelligence check, for a little more information on that.
I guess like I'm good on that. What I would think, and this is what I'm talking about, is do we find any that don't have mortal wounds on them specifically? Like if we can't discern that, like, dude, this person probably didn't die, like from battle, in case we see a theme. Because it sounds like definitely we found a lot that had wounds that could have been mortal, right?
So I will say, give me investigation as you're going through this pile. How deep are you trying to search? Because these guys have been piling bodies for about 3 hours now.
Yeah, I mean, search, I guess, investigate what we can in a safe way. Do you guys have any other input on if you want to press that or look into it further? Or I'll just look to what's convenient. I don't think that's worth wading through piles of dead undead. I'll roll an investigation. 22.
Okay.
Dang.
So, of everything that you looked at, holy shit, your chroma key is tripping me out every time you lift that drink because it's blending into the background. But every body that you're able to look at, from what's on top of the pile and even those kind of on the outer edge towards the bottom, there's enough wounds on it where you would conclude that if even a third of these wounds were pre-mortem, it would have killed them.
Yeah.
And also just the basic structure of some of them that are still there looks like they were perhaps burnt alive before, like from spells or stuff like that. So,
Dang, so they really haven't been choosy.
doesn't seem that way.
Interesting. There's a chance that all these these soldiers were on the front lines.
Now, something I'm curious about. If these creatures are sent by Laura, do you think they're using actual gemstones, or they're fabricating them with magic?
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, do you think they have a timer?
As far as I understand, these are natural gemstones that have been carved and cut into the way that they are, but have been layered with so many spells that I actually wanted to ask them, but I didn't think it would be a good idea because it might actually blow up the person. To cast a spell such as Feign Death onto the what's it called? The zombie, because then it would be like fake dead, and I'm wondering if the divination spells are kind of like a triggered, like, oh, this thing's dead. I've noticed that it's dead, and since it's like kind of like science, then it would explode.
We should try that. If they attack in routine, we can have a chance tomorrow night.
Do you have to get up close to cast that?
I don't actually have the spell. I just know about it from my readings.
Perhaps we can find a scroll, or have one procured with the funds we have.
I think actually, do I have Feign Death? What level spell is that?
I thought it was pretty low. Yeah.
Feign Death is a 3rd level necromancy spell.
Oh, dang.
I do have that spell. Never mind. I was looking in the wrong spellbook area. I have to be... I can do it as ritual. It's only one action to cast it.
I think we need to talk to folk that are in charge of the defense out here, get an idea of attack patterns, learn what we can.
Mm-hmm.
I have no qualms.
So easy enough. I mean, there's plenty of guards walking around here. Would you rather keep dealing with Tommy? Or are you grabbing somebody else?
Oh, I like Tommy. We should go talk to Tommy.
Hey, Tommy!
Tommy.
Oh, you need me again?
Always, Tommy.
Starts running up. You hear his armor clanking as he runs.
Don't build his ego too much. It's not good for the boy.
What can I do you for?
We need your help, Tommy. We need to know who's in charge, and we need to speak to them.
In charge?
Of the defense.
Of whom? Like the whole defense, or just my supervisor?
Whole defense. Who would know the rhyme and grime of the front lines, and how to defend? And what forces to move?
Let's see. Let me find somebody for you.
Whoever controls your deployments.
That would be... Currently in charge would be Tess Brilbor. She was a general, and I think Silverlord Agron was upset with her, but he kept her behind here. Well, sent her back from the front lines. Tess, Tess, Brilborn.
Okay.
But she was a high-ranking officer, but she's for some reason been put on babysitting duty, messing with us over here. So,
what's the scuttlebutt behind that? I'm sure you've heard things.
I've heard a lot of different things. It's hard to tell what's true.
Oh,
I heard she just made some bad strategic decisions and got more people killed than needed to be. I've also just heard that her and Lord Agron were sleeping together, and then that ended. There's been bunch of stories, so we don't know yet. And nobody really has the balls to ask her around here, so, you know.
I see.
Heh.
And how would we meet this Tess Billborn?
She's probably... She'll probably be available in the evenings at the palace, if I had to guess. My supervisor speaks with her. I've never met her, but I'm pretty sure she's working in the Chris division until night times and probably taking room in the palace, if I had to guess.
Perhaps we can speak to your supervisor then. Sounds like they have a more direct relationship with this Tess.
Sure. Insert random supervisor here. There's Byron.
Hey, Byron! Byron Bird. That is his name now. It's the only Byron I know, and he's a dead senator, so... Alright, let's go.
I literally said that subconsciously because my boss's name is Byron.
That's great.
It's a cool name.
Dude, people still voted for Byron Bird, like the term after he died, because like he's just been a senator for like 50 years. Wild stuff. Anyways,
but yeah, he just points to, you know, a random guy that is helping them drag corpses. This guy's working with them currently, but he is the supervisor of this guard group.
Sweet.
So Byron kind of walks over and, what is it, Tommy?
I'll flag him down on some point with these guys because I got a cough coming.
What can you tell us about troop movements? Everything that's been happening in the front lines. We're looking to help and to glean information for some mage friends. Might be able to make a difference the tide of battle.
And who are you gathering this information for?
Oh, I'm terrible with names.
Aragon and Alucard.
Alaric.
Alucard is-
He doesn't know who the hell Alaric is, but as soon as you say Darrigan's name. So the first night they attacked was 8 days ago. They were able to make it about 100 meters in beyond the outer wall before our guard was able to sufficiently push them back. We have the property damage report filed with the palace currently. But after that, we set up makeshift guards and battlements on the outer wall. Ever since then, they attacked 6 days ago, 4 days ago, and then last night. Always at nighttime. The first night, we're not sure exactly when the attack started. We estimate our response time was about a half an hour. So that would put the attack around 9 at night. The attack after that was closer to 1 in the morning. The attack after that was closer to about 10:30. And the attack last night was at about 5 a.m.
Thank you. And have you been on the front lines yourself?
I fight along my men every time.
Respectable, Captain. Tell me, what has been the spread in terms of the colors of eyes you see at night? Has it been too dark? We have identified that each corresponds to a different element. It might help us
they
plan
seem to glisten, but there's a few, as you can see over there, and he points, and you actually see some what looks like decayed wolf carcasses and boar carcasses that were also, like, the heads are currently exploded on. It seems to have animals in the full guard. And then the eyes are a bunch of different colors, but, you know, in the heat of battle, it's hard to really sit there and count out how many different ones, but they're all very illuminating.
I understand. Have you tried any traps? Anything primitive?
Well, we received the order to capture as many alive as we could. We were able to get one last night. However, we do have one of the bowyers in town making us some wooden poles with kind of a noosing in the front that you can pull from the back. So hopefully during the next attack, we'll be able to take more captive. Where the struggle comes in is they seem to be able to wield magic, and there's explosions that go off. It seems easier to capture them after they're tired out of their magics.
Yes.
And you never really know when that is unless you're paying attention to one in particular. But they seem to only be able to do it 2 to 3 times, and then no more. So
We understand. And do you know where they're coming from?
we do not. The first night, nobody seen the attack coming, so we're very unsure of that one. I mean, really, and this kind of goes without saying, just where the city lays, everything comes from the south side.
Yeah.
Or more the southeastern side, and that's just because the city's 3/4 surrounded by mountain range.
We saw some
but
coming through the hills.
Beyond line of sight, they can't tell where they're coming from.
Yeah, it seems they're flooding in from. Just for like we saw a small band that we waylaid on our way here coming from the peaks over there. I don't think there's any direct troop movement we could intervene with. I'd be curious if pitfalls might work for the animals at least.
General Tess is getting extremely worried as she sent 3 or 4 messengers by this time to check on neighboring villages and whatnot. None of the messengers have returned yet.
Have any of the villagers?
No, but I don't know why the villagers would come here. We're just trying to see if this is happening to everyone or not. We're not sure.
Well, are you familiar with Civil?
Suval? Yes.
Was razed to the ground at least a day ago. 20,000. Gone.
If they can breach Suval, that's... Wow. I wonder if they've... That's terrifying, actually. That's pretty far south of here, which means they're not being stopped in the north. I don't know if that means they're trickling through the villages or not.
I think it's pretty clear what happened to any messengers that were sent if they haven't returned.
I will perhaps speak with General Tess and see if she would perhaps send something more fortified out to the villages and, something that could fight off to get the message delivered.
Perhaps
or at least
we could also speak to Tess. We have arrived as a special advance from the convoy and are currently gathering information to bolster the defense of the city and to prepare the forces that are coming. And it sounds like Tess is vital to this mission.
She's the one calling the shots for now. You, depending on where you'll be, I can come and get you before I meet with her. We meet with her every night, the 4 captains of the guard, and gain any special orders from her. But she works within the Crystal Walls during the day, seeing about the rifle development and stuff like that. So she's not really available during the day.
Understandable. We are told that we are not allowed in those premises anyways, so I think that would be good to meet with her, don't you all think, Pine, Abby?
Yes, we have a suite in the Wacky Wyvern. You could likely find us there in the evening. At least
4th floor. Room 43, if I recall.
Okay, that'll work. I will see you. It's always a little different. She'll send somebody to come and let us know ahead of time. But should be 9ish, 10ish tonight that we'll meet.
Mm-hmm.
Usually somewhere in there. Sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later, but usually between there.
I see. And will Lord Daragon be joining for this briefing, or is he not part of those?
That would be his decision, but he could really speak to her whenever he wanted to.
I just wasn't sure if he was normally at these meetings or not.
Oh no, this is just for the guard. It's just for her to give us our orders for the next day.
Okay. So, Pine, Hobby, I have an idea, and I don't know if it will work. We would need quite a bit of help with it. It seems that these undead are much easier to contend with when their magic has been stripped, exhausted. And while they have good sight, good keen senses, they are still undead and possibly even feral when they detect an enemy within range. We happen to know someone that has powerful illusory magic, and perhaps said someone who has been somewhat disinterested might be willing to try casting a powerful illusion of perhaps a giant, some type of large entity doing battle with these ahead of the front line, and see if they respond to it, see if they cast magic spells at it, and possibly create a harmless target to weaken the offenses before the defenders are set
That is
upon
a
them.
good idea. I
And if it
also,
does not work, we'll learn too.
if I wish to be busy in helping the defenses, I could dig pitfalls. I have a way of molding earth rather effectively, quickly. If you showed me to your front lines and where they typically attack from, I could do well to bolster. At least
Perhaps
in front
even
of you
route
all.
them.
The animals are not likely to clear some of the pitfalls I could make. A moat, if you will. It will take me some time.
Perhaps it's
Our
something
foe,
that you can bring up with this Tess.
yes. They seem to lack intelligence. I will bring that to the meeting.
We don't know that yet, but
Hmm. I also have the tendency to be able to bring wolves from the nearby woodlands or other animals of such veracity. I wonder if the gemmed ones would listen to me. Probably not. But the living ones might.
Or
Not
would
that,
they?
not that they'd have interest. Yeah, it just calls that a pack of wolves, shrugs, and then just wolves.
The wolves look at the undead ones as like,
Yeah, like, nah. Just starts attacking the soldiers.
fuck this.
I said I could call them. Like,
we
I
did
couldn't do
it.
any-
Incredible. Incredible work, friends. All right.
So,
Well, we've got some good info.
William
So
Miller.
everybody is it's free real estate regarding the undead populace, and they're coming in waves, although we don't really know about the composition of the waves yet. Sounds like Tess Brilborn might be able to give us some information there. Sounds like they're mixed up and might be able to coordinate some specific targeting, at least to make sure that they're not shooting, red with red, blue with blue, etc.
Yeah.
There's also a chance that they might be drawn to the elements that they are resistant to or repelled by the opposite elements. And if that's possible, they might be able to be separated, filtered out. If that's the case,
Yeah.
they could be affected by like group magic. So it might be interesting to like set up, fire, ice, poison, like beacons, and see if the next wave is affected or directed or ignores that.
Make a fire moat and then just see how it
Dude.
goes. To just
Yeah.
walk through it? Nah.
That'd be pretty sweet.
What level
Fire
of
Ice
intelligence?
Man, he's coming.
Fire Ice Man. Better watch yourself. We're to destroy water.
1 second, guys. Just putting something together real quick.
You know, I have Moonbeam.
You probably
I
do.
love me some Moonbeam, dude. It's one of the best spells.
Wow. It's hilariously fun. I wonder what would happen if I cast Revived Beast on one of the beasts.
You're not bad. You won't do it. You
That
gotta
have the
touch it
gems
first.
in their eyes. Will it bring it back, like restore its flesh, and then it would just explode anyways?
Yeah, revive it and then feign death. I'm down. So we got a couple things to talk to Tess about. How are they defending? Maybe we can do this illusion idea. It's pretty low risk. Poke this digging fortifications idea that Pine has. Maybe set up some elemental beacons to see if it changes how these things attack. And to try to train their guards to focus fire by element, and try to pick their shots at range if they're using mages.
So you can tell right now, just by how most of them address, everyone out here currently is martial. That doesn't mean they don't have mages here, but you
They're
don't
not
see any
hanging
right
out
now.
at the wall doing physical
Correct.
labor.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. That'd be a good thing to get some clarification on, is do they use mages?
Yeah, do you guys even have any casters, or?
Oh yeah. They're probably mostly on the front line, but they're there.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Y'all
Hey,
got
bro.
you guys like glyph of warding? Let's go.
Loves me some glyphs of
There
warning.
we go.
And so, is this on an off day or an on day when it comes to attacks expected on the wall?
Expected, they were attacked this morning. So it's not expected that they'll be attacked again overnight tonight,
Okay.
but the night after is the
So we got-
expectation.
Got time to probably report to folks after our meeting with Tess tonight.
Nice.
Cool. I'm good. Do you guys have anything else that you want to try to accomplish here?
No, not outside of like what we're gonna bring to the meeting, and then try and implement that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you
Not
want
for me.
Do you want to poke?
Is there something you guys need to do before tonight? So it's currently you guys got here around 11:30 to 12. You haven't really been here long. You spent about an hour in the Wacky Wyvern. I would say probably about 45 minutes to an hour with Darrigan and them. So 2:30, something like that, 3 o'clock at the latest right now. You guys have some time in the evening if you need to do anything in town, or however you guys want to work that.
I have one thing that I'd like to do. I'd like to talk to Alaric, and to just ask his opinion on like how can we get Aliana to help with this illusion idea, just to see if it's even possible to convince her to help before I bring it up as an idea in the strategy meeting.
So he's back at Darrigan's. You know where to find him.
Yeah.
And I mean, upon asking him, I don't know her very well. I guess the best way would just be to ask her. In my experience with her, which granted is limited, the things that interest her, she is very helpful with. The things that do not, she is essentially useless.
I noticed that one myself. What do you know interests her?
Illusory magic.
Random things in general. She was very interested in the Christ weaponry here. But yet has not come to Darrigan's office. It was a surprise to me that she went to the palace. So I'm unsure.
I think it's worth asking, like you say. The worst she can do is say no. Where would we find her? At the palace?
Well, you can't just walk into the palace.
Right.
But she has to leave there sometime, and I would imagine she would find me, but I've been wrong before. There was that time I thought I was wrong, and I was wrong.
Oh, the riddle. Yes. Oh, hush you. Do you have
It
any
sounds
way?
like it's
If
laughing.
you don't mind, could I actually, have you thought to cast Speak with Dead on the dead creature here?
I have not. And then
Okay.
Darrigan speaks
Yeah.
up. That was one of the first things I've done. It did nothing actually, which is
Comprehend
quite
languages.
quite odd. What?
Did you do comprehend languages as well?
No, I didn't have to. The spell just did not take effect. It's like this thing is not undead. I don't know. It's what I say. These weaves are very intricate, and I'm unsure what exactly is going on.
Might
Perhaps.
um Boy, that the I know we strapped it down earlier, but we totally jumped and missed over it because I never did my channel divinity thing.
Yes, we did forget.
Might
You
we
could attempt
do
it.
that real quick? All right, I'm gonna try and
Give me a
turn
fate
undead.
to see if it'll even take effect. Okay,
16.
so it'll take effect.
It's quite
Here's the
odd.
problem. Now roll me perception.
Oh, perception. 22.
You don't know whether it took effect or not because the thing is tied down and can't move, so you can't tell if it's trying to move away from you or not.
Hmm. I didn't think this one through very well. You can't really tell if it's moving away or not. Let's see what happens if I get closer to it.
I mean, you see it moving, but it was moving the whole time it's been in here. More of as like a pissed off that it is currently strapped down movement. So that movement doesn't really change. It's just really hard to tell with it being strapped to a table.
Would a simple identify spell tell us all the enchantments on the gems, or no?
It will not.
Okay, I figured it wouldn't, which is why I wasn't just let identify.
Yeah, we can, Josh. I was just waiting for about 10 o'clock, but if you want, we can
I'd
go
rather
ahead and
have it
take
a
our
little bit earlier. Last time was a little bit further in than.
cool.
Nice.
So we can go ahead and take 15. For those of you watching at home, we will be back soon.
Cool.
Thank you.
Nice.
See you next
You
time.
have our break screen up.
Yeah. About. It's up. All right. Yeah. I'm getting that vibe.
I think I'm good if y'all are.
Back
Right.
to the beginning. Yes.
No pole dancers here, at least not in this building.
We back in?
All right, we are back in.
All right, folks, welcome back. We jump back into the game. So, is there anything you guys are trying to accomplish before meeting with Tess later that night? You guys did tell Byron that you were going to be in the Wacky Wyvern, which is where he's going to go to seek you out. So you know to be there at least by that time, but you have several hours by then. Is there anything you guys need to accomplish?
I guess the main question is, do we want to try to get work done before that meeting, or see how this goes and then work afterward? This is concerning Lord Heath Pegor. I'm kind of indifferent.
Yeah, I was thinking work after the meeting, just so we're kind of on the up and up, especially if there's been kind of like interdisciplinary actions happening.
He also did mention that his stuff would take you away from here.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, if
No,
you
I
ever
think
want
we're
an
good.
excuse to get out of town, that's what he said.
As we're passing, this would be fun. I'm interested in, as we're passing through like the school district, I want to like see if we can hire some hoodlum kids to track down some info for us. Like, I'm willing to offer like 3 hoodlum kids, like a silver apiece, for information surrounding a ruby encrusted sword, who it belonged to or who might have it, and another silver for if that information checks out.
Nice.
Okay. So you wouldn't find hoodlum kids, but these are hard up college students trying to make it. So you could probably find somebody that would, keep an ear out for you. Yeah. They're eating medieval ramen every night, so,
Yeah, man.
Incredible.
I'm not picky about who I pick, just people that look either connected or look like they're willing to work for money, or that look like they...
Well, like I say, definitely anyone you would find on that campus is probably willing to work for money. So it's,
Sweet, man.
simple enough. But they will ask kind of how to get in touch with you if they have that information. What avenue are you giving them for that?
I'd be willing to drop them our room number just to pass that information along, and if we're not there, to leave it on a piece of parchment.
Okay. All
It's
right.
safe to say that they'd probably have a piece of parchment, and that's fair to ask for since I'm giving them a silver.
Of course.
Better.
And yeah, and just how I can reach them if I need to interact with them further.
All right.
That's it for me, though.
Yeah. So to get with them, they'll just kind of tell you, just look for us on campus. We're usually passing building to building between classes. They, not too fond of giving a stranger their home address, but
Yeah, whatever's easiest, whatever works. I'm not.
so yeah, simple enough. All right. So do you guys just want to kind of time lapse until that night? Works for y'all?
I'm good with
I'd like-
that.
Yeah, I'd
What do
like
you
to on
think?
my end.
Excellent.
The Forge. I have the Forge tonight, don't I?
Tonight at 10, yes.
I would like to jump to at least that.
So this will take place before then.
The meeting.
Okay.
So you guys are retrieved at around 8 that night. And let me pull us over to back to this map here for them.
The meeting.
Yeah, you guys are retrieved. Let me get all this doodling. So you guys are retrieved at around 8 that night. And let me pull and are led not to the palace, but rather to this building here. If you can
That's
see
where
where
I
this
just
map
pinged.
here. Okay.
The meeting.
So this is, how do I describe this building? Think of a motel. So all the doors face the external of the building for the different rooms that are in it. But it looks to be some sort of like a military barracks. Which is not typically where you would imagine somebody of this high of a rank would stay, but nonetheless is here. And Byron does bring you guys into a woman who introduces herself as Tess. And she says, yeah, Byron said you had something to pass by, something from Lord Darrigan?
Hello, Tess. Yes, it's nice to meet your acquaintance. Thank you for having us at your nightly meeting.
You as well.
We Pine, Abby, and myself, Triniac, are here on behest of Lord Darrigan, initially sent by Usilian Agar as an advance force escorting VIPs, such as the great Archmage Alaric, ahead of the main force. One of our objectives is to ascertain information on the current state of events, better understand our common enemy, and better employ tactics against these undead warriors so that both the reinforcements and the town's defense can better from it. That's our purpose here, along with just other inquisitions as well.
Well, as you can see, I think we've been doing a pretty good job of staving off this plague or such that has become of our lands.
Yes, it's been most impressive.
I mean, you could be doing a little bit better. They did burn down a couple buildings on the outside, but besides that, I think you're doing a pretty decent job.
I believe
to
that
be
was
fair-
in the first attack, right? It was the
To be
only
fair,
time
it was
they
a bit of
breached
an
the walls.
ambush. Yes, that was the first attack.
And may I just initially inquire, how do these meetings, are the four captains of the guard here as well?
They are, yes.
Gotcha. How do these meetings normally process? I wouldn't want to disrupt the normal rhythm of the strategic meeting.
It's a pretty casual thing. Just we're gonna redistribute some things, but that'll be after you leave, as it's kind of confidential Xeralian government material.
Of course.
And then I will give them just a briefing of my meetings throughout the day. But that's all on kind of a need to know basis.
I understand. So, may we first start by speaking to what we've observed in our trials, in our fights and observations with these undead on our approach.
Sure.
I'd like to open up with, we passed a city along the way. The city of Saval. It was razed
Yes.
to the ground.
Byron mentioned it earlier. You said it was burned to the ground.
20,000, yes. The stench of undead was almost unbearable. Not to be distinguished apart from the stench of death itself. I was happy to see that the same fate has not befell this great town. One thing that we noticed is obviously these things go boom when they die. What we can't ascertain is what state of death does it require to make these things go boom. We know that folks have been trying to capture these things alive, and that effort will only become more fruitful as time goes. We have noticed that these undead seem to be either triggered locally by some type of perhaps magical eyesight. I know we were spotted in hiding about 40 feet out, and that others, it seems that they can almost dial in from afar. I am wondering if that has anything to do with the detection of magic, and if some can detect magic afar or prey afar, and some can't. As you know, they seem to have.
I don't know why Still Reach would be attacked if it was a detection of magic. There's not much magic that goes on here, at least not within the outer walls.
But you have a great forge where you make crystal weapons here, do you not?
Yes, but they're not enchanted here.
So just the crystals then.
Correct. No magic is involved in that process.
Perhaps maybe they think that the crystals will be able to better stimulate their armies. They're already using some crystals for the eyeballs. That maybe they might be able to make their armies more living with the crystal, which is a more powerful catalyst.
Well, it could be possible. They're not the only city to have been attacked. So, unless similar developments occurred in Saval, I'm not sure if that line of thinking will help currently with what we know now. But it may help later on.
I'm still waiting on word from the messengers I sent to Swinstow on whether or not they're encountering these creatures on the front lines or not. But I just sent him 4 days ago, so he's still a good ways out.
I see. So I have a few things that I'm looking on my notes to cover here. Blah, blah. Can't seem to figure out where I put my stuff. I propose we seek out Alaria, I believe that's her name, Aliana, who traveled with us, who's very adept at illusionary magic, and perhaps she is willing, if the would I say High Captain of the Guard? Is that the correct title?
For whom?
For
Tess?
Tess, yeah.
Tess is a general.
General, okay.
Woo.
She
If
high
the
up there.
general is interested, perhaps we can have illusory magic be used in an attempt to fool the undead into targeting perhaps the projection of a great magical beast, like a dragon or a giant, etc., to try to exhaust their long-range magical attacks to make them easier to coerce and possibly capture, and to perhaps reduce casualties to your forces and to the guilds that are heeding the call. That is one suggestion that we bring. I have not had an opportunity to confirm her willingness to participate in such, but it's definitely a simple request on her part.
Well, if not her, there's, I'm sure, plenty of magi you can find within town here that are capable of doing such things.
Perhaps. I do not know the makings of the town and the composition of their citizenry, or the magical composition of their forces, but perhaps it is just a suggestion that you may be able to act on as well.
How about this? You seek out your person, and I will find someone capable and willing as well. And we'll just bring them both, and that way, if your person chooses not to help with such an endeavor, we'll still have someone who can do so.
Sounds good. And Pine, you had something as well, right?
I do. I have a couple. One of your soldiers on the front told us that creatures lead the vanguard. Creatures by nature are quick to rush into an easy kill, especially if they're undead.
They've been becoming less and less common, but yes, that is true.
I have a way of shaping the earth to my will. I could make a moat or some pitfalls in front of where you might expect the attack to come from. It could stop a good portion of their forces and allow you to deal with them in a way more guarded.
If you could create such a thing, as long as we could leave a way in and out, we could leave the moat there. We've observed that these creatures don't seem to be very intelligent, especially in battle.
Yeah.
They seem to be more primal, acting on instinct, capable of only harm, but not strategy. So,
Very good.
whereas a person could simply pass on the bridge of your moat, I believe that they would fall down it.
And even
Very
if
possible.
they didn't fall, they would cluster in one place and be prone to setting themselves off, detonating. I like this idea. I expect one of your commanders can show me to the front, where that would be most helpful. If there are any wildlife remaining in these hills, I can also conjure some of them to aid in the next fight, if you know when it might be. Though, I expect they will perish. It may save some of your soldiers from the ire of their spellcasting, though.
Since the discovery, we don't have many magi left in town. Most of them have been called to the front lines. But since the discovery of the whole explosion thing, we've been trying to use more archers on battlements, and I've recently commissioned a ballista and a catapult to be built and
Very
shipped
good.
to the front wall. But we're trying to shift more towards ranged attacks, as several of our guard were injured or killed
Very good.
due to the explosions the first go round before this discovery was made. I've also hired several carpenters to actually build a true gate at the wall, as there's never really been one on the outer wall before.
I have a way of mending planks together should they want help with that. If one of yours could see me to your carpenters, I believe I could be of assistance. Though,
Well, I'm waiting on them to finish up a few jobs that they've had commissioned, but they've given me promissory notes of
do you have
of labor.
time for that?
Say again?
Do you have time to wait? Have they breached the gates before?
Only the first attack. They've never made it to the gates after that.
Very good. I can make moats to start, and perhaps bring in some fodder to keep them off of your front lines, keep them distracted. Perhaps I can do some testing to see if it is magic that sparks them, or just the presence of life that does it.
What I do believe I am going to order my men to do in the future,
Yes.
we have a bowyer developing us some snares. We're going to hide them on the southwestern wall. If you can see where I'm, no, sorry, I'm not on token layer. If you can see where I'm pinging along this wall.
Okay, nice.
So that as our archers rain down arrows, those men can go and ensnare some to be taken alive by Darrigan's orders. We've also secured a few cellars in towns, one of which is to an abandoned home, so there's no risk of damage there, to store them in until he's ready for them.
I understand. I am a powerful wood and earth crafter myself, and I have some capacity to heal those that are wounded, get them back on the front. How much are my services worth it to you?
Unfortunately, I would have to get permission from the king to push money towards something like that. Government spending is a bit complicated. There has to be paper trails and background checks and things of the sort before we hire on contractors.
Some of those obligations and barriers may already have been met by our vetting to be part of the relief force sent. Is one thing to consider in that. I do believe that we may benefit by working together more in the future, especially in some documented way, contractually, that benefits the both of us. Sounds like perhaps that could be a discussion to have with the king or the court or whoever that is brought up officially during this.
You mentioned you've contracted out people to build a gate, folks to make snares.
Well,
What did it-
we do have budgets towards improvement of the walls and maintenance of the walls, so that money comes from that. But to hire guard, it's typically done by employment, not by contract. So, I would have to give you a 1099 parchment, and then
1099 parchment. A
Are the local taxes taken out of that contract, or do we have to save up extra for when we file next year?
no, at the end of
Oh,
the year,
employee
we will ask
withholding.
you.
Does it
At
come
the end
with
of the year, we will ask you to figure out how much you owe us, and if it's
cool.
wrong, because we already gonna know, we're gonna
No,
throw your ass in
No,
jail.
this is getting too real.
And who's representing me?
Out of
the
my
immersion.
fantasy
It's
life.
incredible.
Well, perhaps when you see my work, we can consider it not contracted, but something that you purchased. Fortifications for the town. I expect you might have the budget when you see how useful they are.
I can pass it by a few people,
Very good.
but ultimately, it's not my decision to make.
No. But I feel like you have a good tactical head on your shoulders. You know
The very
what-
best.
Then I'm glad I came to you. I'll do everything I can before this next attack and prevent as many losses as we can. There might
We're
yet
not.
be-
We're not expecting anything tonight. However, our guard is always on full patrol these nights.
Yes, it'll give me time to prepare for the next.
But if the tendencies keep going the way they have been, there will be an attack the night after.
And you are a general, right? You mentioned.
I am.
And I assume that you have served on the front lines as well.
I was.
Have you experienced anything like this on the front lines, fighting
Not
the
at all.
undead?
Not at all. But as they've just reached here a week ago, that's why I sent a messenger out to Swinstow, to see if perhaps they've made an appearance after I've left there.
I see. We've seen that it's Lauren citizens, Xeralian citizens, soldiers, you name it, adventurers, all seem to have fallen victim to the undead curse that afflicts them in this new life, as I'm sure you have noticed. I do wonder, have you noticed any significant vulnerabilities or resistances or patterns amongst the undead?
They all seem to die to arrows. The best I can tell you.
The color of their eyes seem to indicate some resistance of relation to the element that they exude when they attack magically. What's that green gem?
Emerald.
Emerald seems to be poison, both offensive magic and resistance. Opal seems to be lightning, same. Ruby seems to be fire. We don't have that fully confirmed on the offensive magic, but we seem to have confirmed it with the resistance. We are assuming that this applies to all of them based on our limited experience with fighting these things in an open environment. The sample is a little small.
The magics they cast all seem to be different as well. As you said, Ruby seems to cast fire, and Emerald's poison. At least from the best I can tell, typically by the time I get to see them, there's no head left. So it's hard to really examine the gemstones, as it seems that the gemstones themselves explode.
Yes.
But I've noticed the similarity that you speak of, but I can't really make a educated suggestion based on that, as there's no evidence to present to anyone.
Understandable. So perhaps there may be a way to learn more about your enemy. You may
And that's what
be
we hope
able...
to. That's what we hope to accomplish by capturing them.
The sapphire one you all captured last night seems to be of the nature of frost or ice.
Yeah, unfortunately, when we captured it, we thought it had used up all of its magics, and it hadn't. I heard there was some damage done. No one died or was injured, but property damage done as they brought it in, which was odd. I mean, I'm not a magi, but as far as I know, you have to do weird clan symbols and speak weird stuff and all that to cast spells, and they just seem to not have to do those things.
Interesting. So they may have some other tricks up their sleeves other than the magic that they normally use. I propose that if you have any magical support, and perhaps we can, and perhaps it doesn't need to be magical, but to establish perhaps beacons or magical auras via magical attack, or again possibly just elemental, to see if these undead steer clear of certain elements or are drawn to elements of their type. If you have a way to easily separate them passively by type, you may be able to conserve special attacks or ammunition, or the rare offensive spell that you may have in service against these types of creatures.
The magi that we have on site seemed we have just in the aspect of healing injured troops and whatnot. The battle magi that we've had have been sent to the front line. These guys, and she looks around at the 4 captains that are there, and then kind of leans in closer to you. They kind of just left the troops that wouldn't cut it out there over here.
I
if you know what I mean.
understand. You have the dregs.
I see. Well, perhaps if there is a non-magical way to do this, or perhaps we can be of assistance in that nature. My fireballs don't seem to work on the ones with red eyes, so if there's a way that they can be corralled, or possibly drawn in to one of your pits, Pine.
I think the solution is just making that many pits.
The the fires that you have started burning the dead, have you noticed any of the undead being drawn to the fires?
No, but we burn them during the day, and they've been attacking at night.
May I suggest that we start with lighting 1 or 2 of those pyres sometime at dusk and seeing what happens?
We can
If it
after the
isn't-
next attack. The ones that they fought that's been burning this whole evening. So, but once they get a buildup of bodies, she's okay with that.
But Pine, you also have the ability to employ local plant life. Perhaps you may be able to rustle up some timbers for a possible test before the next wave. It could behoove us to learn as much as we can, as quick as we can.
I can, and if we can get them grouped up, I have some nasty ways of dispatching them. I'm almost feeling excited.
Well, if it's just a fire you need and not a burning body fire, I can just have some of the guards grab timber from
Just grab some timber real quick. Yeah.
That would be convenient. I just don't want to impose. Just showing up and making more asks before
Would you want us to burn it tonight? I can just order a larger than normal bonfire.
I would say the night before the night of the next attack that you expect. Perhaps lighting it at dusk if the attack is to happen during the night.
We can do that.
Perhaps with a fire arrow. Have you all tried any fire arrows?
We do shoot them, but they're more to illuminate the battlefield than anything else.
I see. I guess whatever's the safest way to ignite that, and I can even ignite it at a distance with a firebolt of some type.
All right.
That's really
That is
all I
definitely
have to
something we
add.
can try.
Is the local Christ weaponry of any use, or is none of it active because it isn't enchanted?
It's effective, but we've been ordered not to use such things if not needed. We do have some in reserve, but these things are very expensive, and if they can be taken out by cheaper means, I'm ordered to do so.
That is understandable. No need to throw piles of gold at things to kill it when you could throw rocks instead.
Correct.
It
Plus,
would be
ever since the Chris weaponry, our Fletchers and bowyers have been hurting a bit as the military orders less bows and arrows than we did before. This at least gives them a little more work.
what. You probably can't answer that question. Never mind.
All right. Yeah.
Good talk. No.
Good talk. I'm like, so how do you make your bombs?
Yeah. Just give me those instructions step by step. Need to make sure I understand them.
I will throw out there, Lord Derrigan and Lord Heath Pegor allowed Ollie actually to hold on to one of the crystals, not crystals, but gemstones, enchanted gems that were plucked from the head of the one with sapphire eyes. A beautiful, I believe it was a real sapphire, right? Right, Abby? A real sapphire?
It was, it seemed to be that, and then, he just chiseled it, and it looked like it was man-made chiseled, and then made in a specific shape to be shoved in their head.
It was like a spike, right? Like a spike.
Yeah, like a railroad spike.
Is
If
that
I know what a railroad is.
bear any similarities to yes, railroads?
A railroad
what are those
spike?
things? Bear any similarities to the crystals?
Such is not my field, but Christ is not really a gem.
Right, so I'm told.
It's more of a crystal, a clear gemstone, so to speak. It's very similar to diamond, but not as hard. But and much more plentiful than diamond is. But we found several veins in the mountains here to the north, and that's where we've been mining from. But it's not really similar, and none of our magi, because when the Christ weapon, when the Christ technology was first discovered, to my understanding, they had several mages try it with easier to find gemstones, and none of them were able to imbue them with magic. At least the gemstones wouldn't hold. So we're not really sure how it's possible now, but that's more of Lord Derrigan and the college's duties, not mine.
I see. I'm just curious if there was any collaboration or exchange of information on that front in case it bolstered the defense.
There has been, but I can only say so much. That's not confidential information.
Of course. I think that's all I have. Abby, Pine, if you have anything else.
No, not necessarily for me, no. No, I don't think so.
You're a timid one.
And what about you, General Tess? Do you or your four generals have any questions for us? Anything that could, any information that might help us in our endeavors to support you?
I will think upon it. I'll seek you out tomorrow, and we'll speak when I have time. I'll check about maybe getting you on payroll and seeing what they can do about it. But and I will let you know. Captain Byron said that you can be found at the Wyvern.
Yes, that's correct.
I will ask for you there.
All right. We will see you tomorrow, hopefully. I bid you do, and fight well.
You as well. Stay alive long enough to be of use to us.
I'll let her have that. Whatever.
Understandable.
We're not the dregs here.
I don't know. Depending on how the rolls go, we.
Cool.
See, what you don't know is every guard in Xeralia is level 20.
Yeah.
The ones here are only level 17, so they're the weaklings.
Yeah. Just Tommy, level 17, never saw it coming.
Never saw it coming.
He's just like really insecure about only being able to cast 8th level spells.
Yeah. So, as players, we could probably just jump into our preparations for the night before, and if we get the chance to talk to Oleana before the preparations. What do you think about that, GM?
So there's a couple things that will happen, but if you want, we can just kind of skip to significant events.
I like things that happen. I just wasn't sure what that looked like for you.
Sure. So I'm assuming here you guys go to your room and get a night's rest.
Nope, at
Everybody
10 I'm
okay
gonna go
with-
forge.
Oh, he's got the
Awesome.
forge.
Also, Jay, roll me your craftsman check. Your final one.
That's what I was gonna actually start trying to recreate. So I will study and then in the forge we'll attempt to recreate. Give me that wisdom. With guidance. Ooh. It's my lowest one yet.
Oh, by far. You had a 28 and then a 27.
Pathetic.
And
Now a 12.
You're like, I don't know how this forge works.
Calculator.
This isn't like all these pencils feel weird, and this hammer's too small. No.
Yeah. Or like the ceiling's just too low.
You just
There's just a hole above me in the ceiling.
Well, that's still an average of 22.3 per roll.
Wow.
So yes, while having this staff, which don't forget, you need to return it to a lark now. But you have kind of learned the way the engraving patterns and whatnot actually work. You know the dimensions of the staff, and you're pretty confident you can transpose it over to metal if needed be.
I'm gonna start that tonight.
All right. So you have the forge booked. You will have to supply the metal material.
That's fine. I got a whole bunch of copper ingots that.
So you're making a copper one?
Yeah.
Okay. All righty.
And I don't know how you do enchanting in your world, but I'd love to try and, infuse some magic into it while I'm forging.
What do you want to do with it?
I just kind of want to put like pure raw magic energy, like dump some spell slots into it if I can do that with like I have this thing. I can't really use it necessarily because it's like a once a day thing, but like at least how I was thinking, maybe since I am Forge Cleric, I could just dump spell slots into it and then see what happens and just have you tell me, yeah, it becomes this.
You mean like cast spells into it and see like what that does? Is that what you're saying?
Kinda, yeah. Or literally just put raw magic of spell slots into it.
Mm.
And have it be something completely random.
Dude,
okay.
Forge Clerics are dope.
So how long are you gonna work on this tonight?
Enough to still get a full long rest in and wake up at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So about 2 hours.
Okay. So at that, I'm going to say at that rate, it's going to take you 4 days to finish it. I'm going to say it's about 8 hours of work for everything, getting the ingots, smelted together and all of that. And actually shaping it out, and the carvings are intricate and whatnot. And that's including the magic enchantment to it.
Cool.
So I'll say 8 hours total, however you want to divide that up. So if you want to work on it longer the next day, whatever.
Easy, just don't sleep. Nah.
So go ahead and give me a craftsman check. Check with your craftsman tools. Are we just gonna kind of run it the same way as it was running before?
27.
27.
Somebody
Okay.
cast Tireless on you and you missed that. Yeah.
That'd be
What
spicy.
he doesn't know is it's all Alaric behind the scenes,
Yeah.
puppeteering
just-
this whole event.
Accidental exposure to like carfentanil.
Ooh.
You know, was on the Walmart shopping cart handle, and he's just been going ham ever since.
Silly.
So typically in this world, which I didn't include this time around, there is a Walmart in this world.
No!
It is called Masters Mart.
Incredible.
Dude, I
And
want
it
to
is-
I guess with this channel Divinity,
It is-
it's like an hour-long ritual to make something, but yeah.
It is run by, let me pop this out, a faction called Masters of the Coin. So,
Many people.
but I didn't include the stores this go around. But okay, so you work on that through the night. You got a pretty high roll. You made a good bit of progress, and you're feeling very confident in what you're doing. You have the quarterstaff itself, the metal quarterstaff, starting to take shape. It's extremely fucking heavy, but because it is made of copper. But it's, I mean, you're getting there. You got its basic shape going. You think you'll be able to start, go ahead and get it quenched down and start actually engraving it and getting the weight kind of properly balanced.
Cool.
The following night. So you guys wake the next morning. Is there anything you guys are doing besides just kind of waiting around at the Wacky Wyvern, or?
In the morning?
Yeah, like the next morning when you guys get up. Anything important you guys need to get done or doing, or?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll switch out a cantrip because I can do that with my cantrip ability feature. I'm gonna swap out Mage Hand with Prestidigitation.
Okay.
I'll see if there's any more slots for the forge and just keep working on it for the day if we're not going to do anything too crazy.
So you're in peak hours at this point, like basically 8 to 5 is your peak hours, and then they'll slot in usually from about 7 because they shut down a certain amount of furnaces.
Okay.
After 5, so that takes some time of their employees just kind of clearing things out, and then they'll have a couple furnaces running throughout the night, and those they'll rent out when they're kind of in just regular production.
Cool.
So that's why they'll usually do a slot at 8, do a slot at 10, do a slot at 12, and then that's it really. So during the day, no, not really.
Okay.
But you are still on the books for 10 this night, but not the next night.
Cool.
All right. So after the morning, I'll say about probably 1 in the afternoon or so. I'm assuming you guys are still at the Wacky Wyvern. You are retrieved by a concierge saying that there is company for you downstairs requesting you.
Hell yeah.
nice.
And you come down, and Tess is standing at the front counter of the Wacky Wyvern waiting on you.
Hey.
Do I have y'all on this map? Yeah, okay. I was like, damn, I didn't remember if I moved y'all or not. And where's your...
Okay, yeah, there we are.
But she speaking more towards Pine says, I have found a way to kind of get your services employed. We do still have a monetary budget for guild hiring for certain projects. And I've spoken with a few of the higher ups with the Wacky Wyvern thing, and I can kind of just employ you under the table through them. So the best I can really offer is 100 gold for a week's service is what I can offer.
I'll get
That's
your
all I've-
battlefields most favorable in that time. I knew you were a crafty one.
Actually, it was all Darrigan's idea.
Even so.
I spoke with him and a few others this morning, and I'll be honest, I got some mixed reviews on you two, on you group, but it's we'll give you a shot.
Same could be said of us all. It's always good to set the record straight with personal experience in...
Darrigan spoke very, very highly of you and said he was impressed with your group's intellect and ideologies. However, Archmagi Alaric stated that he worried about a certain wizard in your group, that his intellect was lower than the average person, and said that he speaks a fool's tongue. I haven't heard any of you speak in fool's tongue, so...
He's
So
referring
sad
to me.
For an old man.
Well, you seem to speak perfectly normal from where I'm standing.
So it would seem. Would you like to know the story behind that story? Or would you like me to leave it a mystery?
I probably would not rather hear that. Not my business, and quite frankly, he's, for some reason, considered above my station, so I will leave my superior officers glamorized in my eyes. And then also another maiden that was there, the one sitting over there, and she points across the bar, and you guys do notice that Aliana is sitting down eating lunch currently in the Wacky Wyvern.
God damn it.
But she gave you a rather impressive reference. So
High praise.
Very.
Well, I appreciate the affirmation. It's not a bad thing to have a bit of a checkered reputation. If anything, it makes you more appealing as people seek to figure out who is the real you. I'm sure we take that in our stride.
What I've done is that the Xeralian guard will send money to the Wacky Wyvern, and in a week's time, employ starting today, you can collect your gold.
I'll get started immediately. I won't waste a moment of your time or your coin. Well,
Yes,
maybe after
and
we talk to that.
sorry, that's all I could scrounge up, but times are tough currently.
War economies. Challenging to most, rewarding to few.
The majority of that budget is going towards weaponry to fuel the front lines and whatnot, so...
In truth, I do not care much for the amount of coin, but I've learned that it is not wise to do services for free, especially ones that other folks cannot do as well as me.
Well, also this will help with your guild ranking in the Wacky Wyvern, so...
That I do care about.
You got a long way to go, but you're going to get there one day.
Hey,
That time.
Your guild is currently ranked 127,000.
You know, the good news is
127092.
the good news is a lot of people die in war. You just have to outlive them.
Hey.
That's not what guild ranking is based on. There can be dead guilds ranked ahead of you.
Dang.
History
take
tends
control.
to forget those that have passed. All right, that's incredible. 11 out of
Very
10.
well. I must be getting back now, but thank you. And if you need to get in touch with me, I guess Byron will be your contact for me. Um,
Nice.
and I'm usually out on guard's watch for a few hours at least, with the men. So,
Nice. All right.
and she begins to take her leave.
I think we should go see what Aliana's up to. See
Absolutely.
what she's eating.
I like to imagine Elia just has this uncanny sense of like when somebody's talking about her, she's just like, I need to be here in the morning for breakfast because these mother. Nah.
She gives me this like Cersei from Game of Thrones slash like Dr. Halsey from the Halo TV show. Like she's got that kind of like persona. Like I'll dissect a person if I can learn something. Otherwise, life is incredibly boring.
Yeah, that checks out.
I like it though.
So you guys are approaching her.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
you're approaching me.
As you
Yeah.
get close, you hear her just let out an annoyed exhale,
Yes.
and she kind of turns
We
and looks
know.
at you over her shoulder.
Look, we would feel the same way if we saw us approaching ourselves. You know, it's not offended.
I'm a
Why?
little offended.
Why would you feel that way? If you saw you approaching yourself, you knew that one of you had to be an illusion. Therefore, there was no reason to feel that way.
That's not true. There are plenty of ways to take another's form.
Mostly through illusionary.
Should you feel the twilight of your years, let me know. I can help you live on. I'm gonna leave it completely vague.
I was just trying to, you know, relate, but that's okay.
I was just trying to be relatable, man.
What can I help you with?
I'm not
She
sure.
lifts a fairly large fish, bone and all, and she's like trying to pick between the ribs of the fish.
Is it
She's
shark?
eating.
Is it a
No.
shark? So
It's a Loch Ness monster.
Wince.
it's really not a matter of if you can help, it's if you're willing to help. I know you can do what I'm interested in proposing.
Probably. There's a few things I can't do.
Especially in the realm of illusory magic, which we know you are quite talented.
I am.
We are advising, unofficially, soon to be officially, Tess Brilborn, the general in charge of defense of this city, at least in trying to help guide their efforts in attacking these undead foe. And it seems that their major obstacle is the dispersing of the offensive magical capabilities of these undead, which seem to be primal in nature and bearing no significant intelligence. I am thinking if a strong enough caster of illusion magic can portray some type of large creature, perhaps a magical creature, something threatening and ominous that has appeared to be approaching this force of undead as they approach, they may engage it and thus spend this finite amount of magical spells before the brave defenders, but the brave defenders lacking magical offense and defense capabilities can then mop up. You could stand to gain several things if you wish to gain them, both material and immaterial. I am not really sure about your motivations, but I have a feeling that you have access to all that you need and more. So, at the very least, you stand to benefit, knowing that you're helping folk, and that you're at least building favors with folks that can obtain information, at the very minimum, knowledge, and at the...
Why are you trying to take credit for an idea that isn't yours? I heard General Brilborn say the same thing this morning.
Of course you did. Do you know that it wasn't mine?
Well, if she said it first, I would imagine it's hers.
And so I guess my question to you would be, why wasn't this tried on the second day or the third day?
Don't know. Let me ask you this.
I doubt
Why do
you
you
care.
care? Why do you care about this endeavor?
About
What
the
does it
endeavor
matter?
or about who is right and whose idea was it?
About Still Reach in general. Why do you care?
Well, first off, we're staying in this town, and if it gets overrun by undead, we'd have to leave. So, there's that. Well, the second thing is, I can't stand
Convenience.
You know what? That type of like just calculated cynicism might hit that sweet spot for her.
Yeah, I can't sleep in a town that's being razed. Can't sleep well. Let me correct. But really, number two, we have a
Pragmatism.
reputation to build. We have guild ranking to increase. But beyond that, I don't terribly mind helping people, and in fact, I enjoy it, especially when I can stand to better myself and strengthen the relationships that I have with the folks around me that are stronger than me in many ways. Influence, power, wealth, connections, knowledge, ancient knowledge.
Was it really your idea?
Why does it matter?
Because I don't expect an idea to go. I don't expect an idea like that to come from you. And if it did, that means I was wrong about you.
It was my idea. I have no way of proving it to you.
Okay. She knows you're telling the truth.
This does spark joy.
I don't know. Says she was wrong about me. I'm
Well,
not
then I
sure
owe
that's
you an
good or bad.
apology.
None is needed.
It is, because I lied this morning. And I called you stupid. I just think that they were too stupid to realize I was calling you stupid. And perhaps you're not stupid.
I may be young for an elf, but I am trying to learn the ways of the world. There is much for me to learn.
I have two problems with this. One is that you're asking to be up longer than I would like to at night. Secondly,
I could save some lives, but I got like an 11 a.m. 11 p.m.
Dude.
curfew.
I can relate, dude. Nap time is nap time, man.
Yeah.
secondly, I've heard some disturbing news about your little group recently. So let's kill two birds with one stone. Give me 2 gold. Or silver. Doesn't matter. Some object.
I'm gonna give her a handshake.
Not. I will produce the gold as well. Like,
It can be silver. She's just asking for 2 objects.
2 objects.
Preferably small objects.
I have this tooth. I got it last night.
And this tooth. No.
That was
Pine.
creepy out of game.
I'm just like elbowing Pine, like, get your tooth out of here. Like, now.
It's like she wanted a small object. This is.
So is anybody actually giving her anything?
Dude, I think we all three propose, like, I give 2 gold, Abby gives the handshake, you give a tooth, and, like, the poor thing, I'm just gonna,
The handshake, she's not going to touch you. She just, like, looks at your hand and says, not what I meant.
Your hands are dirtier than the inside of the forge.
As Pine reaches the tooth forward, she just turns her attention towards you, Triniac, and grabs the 2 gold. She holds it in a hand and begins to mutter amongst herself in a language you guys do not understand. But you, Triniac, would probably kind of get an idea of the syntax simply with the way that the language is spoken. That it is not dissimilar to the language from the cave.
gotcha.
And then she hands you the gold back. If you want an illusion, throw that in the battlefield.
Okay.
The second half of this deal is that you stay away from Lord Pagor.
Who is Lord Pagor?
Pagor,
Pagor.
Oh.
may I ask why? He was going to be of continued business for us.
Because he's going to get you killed, and I'm not done with you yet.
So, shrugs like,
Oh, it's one of those.
I'm sure we could be convinced, looking at the party members.
For to not talk to the Lord.
She's just asking that you don't get into business with him.
It sounds like his business was going to take us far away.
Probably. I'm guessing to Southreach.
We are at least here for the next week, as Pine has agreed to provide some defensive fortifications to rout the enemies. Another suggestion that came on day 9 that should have come on day 2 or 3.
Well, then in a week's time, you escort me home.
So yeah, that exact gesture, 2 hands, a pine like
Yeah.
sure.
Looks at Abby, Pine, like,
It was fun for me, yeah. I mean, he wasn't that nice of a guy anyways.
Sure. So long as you make it worth our while.
You're going to walk a lot, so I hope you like hiking.
I love hiking.
will Alaric join us?
No, why would he?
So, I don't know. I'm asking because I don't know the extent of the traveling arrangements. I seemed like you two had separate business, so I'm just, I guess, confirming. It sounded
no,
like he was expecting
I'm not
you
going-
to check in with him before you left, and I wasn't sure if that was at a convenience or a different.
I'm not going back to Xeraxon. I'm going home.
Where is home for you?
You're going to escort me to Redcliffe,
Redcliffe.
the biggest city of Xeralia. You
Yeah. Have no
Sounds
qualms.
like a great time.
The good news is you'll stay alive.
I believe,
That
Redcliffe, Alaric mentioned he knew someone in Redcliffe, Oxmara, I believe. I don't know any significant.
Oxmare is where they came from. That's the college in Xeraxon.
Never mind then. Then it's just someone unnamed. All right.
He did name them, but probably forgotten.
I had heard you were from Alderaan, from someone. I don't remember who. Is that a place in Redcliffe?
No.
Cool. Well, consider us in.
good talk.
That's all she gives you. Nope.
Yes. As always, we will be here if you need us, and I will be happy to let you know how the illusions work if you're interested in knowing. I'm sure that you might hear about it.
I know how they'll work. They'll be perfect. They're my illusions.
I guess I should have said that better. How they will be received.
The sass on this last right now.
Yeah, I can't help it. I love shit like that. I love sassy people.
Oh goodness. J-Prof is just dematerializing in front of our
Yeah,
eyes.
he's just like,
For real, bro.
I feel that
I
way
think
too
I'm gonna turn
sometimes,
into a
man.
rock.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna fade into the darkness here.
Would you like to Would you accept credit for the illusions when they work and when they are effective in their demonstration?
No, thank you. They'll know it wasn't you.
Well, you were asking if she would accept credit as payment, and I was like, what kind of credit can you give her?
Just a tooth. That is never a question. Just curious if you wish to remain anonymous in the endeavor. That is all. Or is it that you will instantly be recognized by the power of the illusion? I guess we'll find out.
I'm not worried about your credit. Thank you, though. Have at it.
I learn a little bit with our each passing conversation. Just smiling, squinting, like...
All right. And
I am gonna like
Sure.
low key like give her a little bait on our next encounter, and like you know how like you kind of like pull up your belt and shuffle things around, like. But I'm gonna like low key like flash my my dark sword gem. Forget what that's called, but
Celestine Shard.
yeah, my Celestine shard, and just be like, well, folks, I believe we have some holes to dig, right?
She looks at it. She doesn't say anything.
I figured. Have I heard back from my collegiate not hooligans by chance?
Yes, the
No,
just starving
you haven't.
college students.
Yeah.
No, you have not.
Pathetic. All right.
It's only it's only been like 12 hours, man.
I mean, you never know. They could have been
no, more
hungry
than
college
that.
kids.
They're hungry and they're starving.
Dude, sometimes there's like, you want to do anything except for that assignment, right? You're like, dude, I'll go like look for rumors for a stranger. I don't want to write this APA paper.
Yeah, that's a mood and a half
Please
right
don't
there.
remind me.
Incredible.
Okay, so y'all are going to try to dig holes on a battlefield. Am I correct?
I mean, you guys could certainly help, but Pine has like 3 spells to be able to like effectively make these trenches. Like we've got Mold Earth, we've got Druidcraft, we've got like
Okay,
all
so
sorts of things to
I've
effectively.
got
What I'm
nothing better to do.
I guess what I'm asking is how far out from the front gate is this trench going?
Ooh, so of course, in terms of where we're putting it, I would want to work with the soldiers. Like, so where have they been attacking, right? And then I'd probably put it. What's their bow range? Like, where do they effectively like fire at, and how tall are these walls?
So the walls are about 12 feet tall.
12 feet.
And there's just random makeshift platforms that they've recently made.
Nice.
That kind of hang one side off the fence with a ladder coming off the backside for a few
Okay.
people to climb up on it. And they're just kind of spaced throughout the wall.
In that case, I could put these pits like 15 feet out, and the archers could still probably like dome a guy in the.
Oh, so like the archers shoot way further than that, but it's up
Yeah.
to you. 15 feet is
Actually, come to no. So, when did they blast us? Like, what was the range on their spells when we had attacked them previously? It was at least 30, right?
They were about 40 feet away when
they never fired at max range.
That's
Correct.
true.
So we don't know the range, but we were like we were around 30 feet away from them, I believe. And then they closed the gap and fired up close, but
Yeah.
I think the safest thing would be like to just do at the edge of like first range increment of like weapons attacks, like what's your accurate like volley range and what's your accurate sniping range.
Yeah.
So
They
they're
probably-
able to shoot. They're able to shoot very proficiently at 60 feet out from the gate itself.
Nice. Let's do it 60 feet then.
Let me 5.
Also,
10,
hopefully gives them a better chance of
25,
not
30,
getting, I don't
35,
know.
40, 45, 50, 55, 60. How wide is this trench you're creating?
Ooh. So, I'd start with 5 feet, and then try and get the length, and then if I had time, I'd widen it by another 5. But the spells that I used is a 5 foot.
5, 10,
Trench.
15, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. All right. What? Bruh. 10, 50.
We're still in the inside the tavern here, the white.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually making a map. currently.
Hey, that's exciting.
I think the one
Now
thing
I
that we
think-
want to figure out is how deep do you want the trench to be, and like how do we ensure that it doesn't give the attackers some type of like cover against the arrow fire, but I guess like height advantage of being on the wall probably negates that. But I don't. We would just leave it up to Miller to, I guess, tell us like what makes sense from a line of sight perspective.
So the archers are elevated, right? Like I said, the wall's about 12 feet tall. By the time you put the platform and somebody's standing on it, they're about 18 feet eye height. So for the archers, it's fine. If you guys are going to be up there slinging spells, that's a different story. Just remember that there are people that need to come and get them alive. So, all right. So I'll give you a 5-foot wide trench on this battlefield. How long does mold earth is 5x5, right?
Mold Earth is 5x5, which is why I'm starting with 5 feet across.
Okay. So at that, I would say, because this is just by the front gate, and we're 40 wide right here. 40 times 5 is 200 feet.
Nice.
And mold earth is just an action, right?
Yeah.
So 6 seconds, 200 feet would take a little while. I'll say you could probably, because of the time you're starting this, get about 10 feet in. 10 feet wide, meaning.
Nice. That's what I'd be going for. Yeah. Only once we get that length.
Oh, crap. Too far. Too far. Subtract. Where's my subtract button?
Be a real
Shit.
little
Shite.
funky boy.
All right. And God damn it.
Feel that.
There. Where's my subtract button? God damn. Put some fucking grass over it. It'll be all right.
Dude, wouldn't it be cool to like have like diagonal like lines like a V that like funnels the ones that don't fall down into like a kill zone, and the ones that do fall down in like a long line that the archers can just see through?
Well, it was, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to get them to group up so they can go boom.
And let me pull.
Remember, when it comes to friendly fire damage, sharing is caring.
Hey,
Let's find something that will suffice for this.
hey, what's your take on
I don't like them.
man?
Oh.
So
On what, but
would you be willing to let me do a spell change as part of my long rest that I would have finished this morning? Okay, I just want to
Perfectly
swap
fine.
out Dispel Magic with Counterspell, knowing that we're going into a battle day. So,
Alrighty.
basically prepare, you know. They're both on my
Mhm.
list, so. Sweet.
Okay, and
Wouldn't that be
then
something? You go to counterspell or magic, and device just runs into a like blue screen of death, just explode.
That'd be rough.
all right. That'll have to work. Export, save, and export. Okay, whatever. Okay. All right. And then drop this one on there. So because this was a little unexpected, I don't have like dynamic lighting or anything set up for it.
Who needs dynamic lighting?
Yeah, I don't think we need it.
It's gonna be nighttime, guys.
Oh golly, no.
All right, on the map layer. Cool. Okay. So is that all you guys are doing till the night? Just working on building a trench?
Yeah, I mean, if it takes me that long, I've got the trench that could be interesting. You know what? No,
So
I'm
you're-
The fire.
So
That's the
that
bonfire idea.
Pine's
yeah,
gonna be on
that
a
can be
top
done
trench
by the
duty.
soldiers.
Okay, cool.
Um,
I don't think there's any real way to create like elemental totems or beacons of the other elements.
I guess the last thing I could do before the kind of night of the battle is I could just go off into the woods and see if there are any Rogan wolves around, which I'd let you basically. So the spell call a Rogan wolf. It's like it's like a beefed up wolf. I don't know what the equivalent in your world would be. I don't know if they've got rage wolves in these peaks.
no,
It'd be nuts
that
if
is
they did.
all of your forms are exclusive to Agora.
Okay,
Or
perfect.
Palmer.
Yeah, that makes sense. So whatever type of large predatory creature they'd have in this region, it'd be like, hey man, there's like, I don't know if you like dead flesh, but they could use some help. I don't know, maybe we'll get you some like good food after this. I'd be trying to set up that little contract in the background there.
Second, let me look up.
I don't really have much else to do on my end. If there's any help I can lend to Pine, I can.
Just
but
pull-
it would.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It would just be manual work. Honestly, just getting in there with a shovel, which I have a shovel.
All right. So if it works out, Pine, we'll just use your little wolf farm token for
Perfect.
it,
Yeah, that's good enough for me.
and just pull its stat block.
Nice.
All right.
That sounds a dandy.
So I'm gonna move you guys here. So here is the wall with the platforms, and you can all pull your tokens over
It's
to
so
see about where you guys are gonna stand.
exciting.
Let me see. Is there just like a basic soldier token?
Guard
the
is
compendium
a
here?
pretty good one.
Yeah.
It's just some generic like I am guard man,
Oh yes.
the real.
And I'll be damned. Okay.
Triniac Ballister, ready to play.
Tell you what, we
Ooh,
just
cool
gonna-
trench.
I'm digging it.
How deep is the
Use
trench?
that.
10 feet? 5 feet?
5 feet deep, 10 feet wide.
Cool.
Neat.
All right. So they do put the gigantic fire blazing. And basically what they did is just stack lumber on top of all of the corpse from the night before.
Nice.
And what remains were left, they just, set that afire. And that's going as you guys are all just kind of waiting. So here's my question are y'all waiting here all night, or how is that going? They've already kind of mentioned to you guys that it's inconsistent when it happens. So
my character would be interested in waiting and sitting out and trying to watch the patterns, looking for anyone coordinating it, or just to see if it's a shambling mass of people that just roll in, what direction they come from, and if they appear organized. Those are like the things that I would be looking for, as Triniac would probably stay out there and take it all in.
Okay. And what are the rest of y'all? How y'all doing this?
I mean, I'm looking forward to staying out on the front lines. Like there are plenty of things that could be worked on. Just kind of like pepping up the soldiers, seeing where they attack from, maybe making some little bombs while we're out
you
here.
You don't even know if they are attacking. I mean, you guys are just kind of waiting up here.
Yeah, we're
currently.
Assuming.
Yeah.
You know what?
All a giant assumption.
What I'll do on Pine's End is they're gonna go spend a little bit of their coin at the Wacky Wyvern and maybe some just like nearby people. I'm just gonna get some like quick hearty meals to like bring out to some of the soldiers, just some snacks.
Ooh.
Okay.
Make things out here a little bit more pleasant, get some rapport. But yeah, I'm gonna be waiting the night. Hopefully they come.
Ooh.
10-4.
We should also let them know that we're intending to use some illusory magic to conjure up some large creatures that don't exist, to try to draw some magical fire away from them. Just as like a, hey, if you see something big, that's us. If it's going in the direction of the enemy.
As you throw out one coin, and then there's like two giant creatures that like come around it, you're like, don't like that.
Yeah. Classic.
All right. So as you where did the fucking token go? Uno momento.
It's crazy.
It's a crazy.
We need old man Jago out here.
Dude, it would not be fair if Jago was out here. But what if I did a war crime, GM? Like,
Yes.
Let me just pull this over.
Just a little.
So it does take the majority of the night, because they're not pulling up until about 3:30.
Okay.
Cool.
When the thunder rolls.
They're coming until 3:30 a.m.
Yes, a.m.
I'm gonna be at the forge until freaking at 10 then, and I'll wait. And the minute I hear the war bells going, I'm sprinting.
There's no war bell. I mean, it'll just start.
Hello,
Yeah,
the minute I hear
not.
people, I gotta get that forge time in.
God damn.
Yeah, fortunately, it's not a huge town. So like Pine could just like sprint on over and like, hey buddy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, area-wise, it is a huge town.
That's true.
And population-wise, it's a huge town.
I might be able to just send a runner to like when we see first inkling of the enemy like on the distance on the horizon to have them come get you. That way we're here for when combat starts.
I guess now it's kind of meta that we know they're not coming till 3. I still would have done it anyways in that sense to have a runner, but I would be done at midnight anyways.
If we wanted to be really cheeky, we could even do a system, now that I know you're going to be forging up until, is I could just, if we didn't want to deal with my wolf being in the combat, I could just post him up on like some cliffs and be like, hey, if you smell something really bad coming this way, just like howl, let us know.
Well, I'm only going to be there till midnight, so as midnight hits, then I'd just come back and join them.
Just keep in mind that your wolf only lasts an hour. So
Yeah, that's true. I should wait to get him in here then.
I think
I'm good
either
on mine.
way,
I'll
we
be on
would
the
have
wall.
made a plan before you would like walk
Yeah.
off of a battle that we feel like is coming, you know. So
Yeah.
it's just about what that plan would be, so that way we're not in separate areas of the town when the town's under attack.
Mm-hmm.
Reasonable.
Cool.
But yeah, so eventually we get to about 3:30 in the morning when you see the first signs. What is y'all dark vision at currently?
Oh, mine's
Oh
big.
heck. Nah.
Elven, 60 feet.
Because y'all
you know.
can, so you just see the edge of the trench.
We have a big fire, so
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
probably
true.
see what's illuminated
Very
around the
true.
fire, and I don't know what
So-
that does to distant vision. Probably 60 feet
That's
additional
true.
of vision around that fire, I imagine.
It's
Yeah,
going
I'm
to
in
be
a
30 feet bright light. And then I'll give it another 20 feet of dim beyond that. So,
Cool. So I have a question for you. How does dark vision work whenever you're compounding off of a source of light in the distance?
I don't understand the question.
So like if there's a fire 60 feet from me that's giving off 30 feet of bright and an additional 30 of dim, does dark vision extend 60 feet from that source of light, or no? Is it just a radius around you?
So for me, yes. The way I kind of rule this, because this has come up before, 60 feet is the vision that you naturally have that it converts. But if there's another light source, because you can obviously see in bright light further than 60 feet away from you. So if that is beyond 60 feet of you, you can see in that light range what that light converts. And I've had that question come up before where like another player's carrying a torch and they're far away from an archer or something like that. You know, that, hey, I'm not 60 feet from that guy, but can I see the stuff around him? Yes, because that's all illuminated. So you would see that as normal, because dim light you see as bright light. And obviously in bright light, you can see plenty far away. So
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. So those with dark vision kind of have a bit of a compounding vision range around the outskirts of the fire, but everything else is pretty much like a 60-foot wall.
correct.
Cool.
And apparently Roll20 agrees with me, because if I would have put dynamic lighting on here, even though you can't see further than that, it would have kicked you, like, it would have allowed you to see what's around the fire.
Interesting.
Kind of funny. All right.
All right, so you do see, I'm trying to see where y'all tokens are. It is after midnight, so where are you currently at, Jay?
Join us, brother. Drag thine token.
Jay,
Also,
you're muted.
Ye be muted. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was talking. I was muted. I'd be like here in the middle-ish, kind of just like with the hammer, ready to do some control-y spells and such. So keep my eye on as many parties as possible for
Okay.
healing.
So
I'd probably meld
all
into
of you,
stone until I'm ready.
all of you would see. Whoa!
Is this the
GM
front
here.
of the town?
This is the gate. Yes.
Okay. I just realized they said that as long as there's a way in and out of the moat.
Chris, all right. We'll throw a bridge
Okay.
over it. And there's the moat to
Okay.
the sides, right? I don't think... Did you do a moat
No.
all the way around?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Okay,
he went.
perfect. I was
brought
just
him.
for half a second there was like, oh.
So you can fill in an area of this if you would like.
I like the idea of being able to throw a bridge over it later when we want to deal with that. That was a good idea, Two Hands. You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
So you guys will see one approaching. Oh,
Cut him down,
from
boy.
here. You do not see this one yet.
Okay.
You do not see this one yet.
Out of curiosity, what's the range that the archers would engage at?
when they could see, so 60 feet.
That makes sense.
Okay, cool.
They would start firing at this guy as soon as he would get in, which is about where he's at.
Spooky boy.
And that's just because of the fire that's going out. But they do eventually. We'll get into that in a minute. Because they will start firing out flaming arrows to gain vision of the battlefield. All right, they're back here and over here.
Nice. Can I, before we start an initiative, can I cast invisibility on myself? Just
you
for fun?
can, sure.
Cool.
And you're gonna do that when you see this guy pop up?
Yeah. I'm just curious.
Okay.
Just in case that does anything or doesn't do anything. I'm just going to maintain it for as long as I can, which is up to an hour, until I need to concentrate on something else.
Let me,
I'll shout out to you. I'm here. I'm invisible. Just testing something. Yell if you need me.
I'm here. Why is it not drawing? So about that is what y'all see outside of just the trench the whole way across.
Oh, nice.
This is that red line is just kind of what the fire is illuminating. On this end, you guys don't really see them.
Okay.
Until you see one crawling out of the trench. And it looks like it's because there's a bunch of them piled up in the trench at that point, and he kind of just like crawled on top of them.
Some World War Z stuff happening right now.
Hell yeah.
But at this point, arrows and whatnot are raining down.
Nice.
So you will start getting bits of vision. I'll say here, because the little flaming arrows don't let off a whole lot of light.
Yeah.
But you'll have just kind of random spots around that you can see.
That's cool. I like that idea.
At any point, are y'all throwing coins or?
Yeah. Once they start getting within 60 feet, I'd throw a coin. Should have specified
so
that.
like I say, you guys are going to see this one as he's kind of crawled out, but you don't see anything else beyond him on this side right now. Where are you throwing a coin to? I'll give you about really, you can't go that far with it, I guess.
You could probably throw a coin like 30 to 60 feet, I imagine.
I'll give you 40.
Okay. I'll take
somewhere
40.
in that range.
I'll take 40, and I'll put just as far out as I can, 40 maybe in front of the fire, because that's where everyone can see the most and the most consistent.
All right. So as you do so.
Yep.
As soon as that coin hits the ground, there is a massive blue dragon that appears that is about 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 foot by 50 foot. Like,
hell yeah.
Massive dragon that is not just standing still, but is snarling and breathing illusionary fire currently.
Oh, hell yeah. That's pretty cool. I knew the old hag wouldn't let us down.
You did a good job.
Strange. Do you normally use insults to compliment someone?
Just for a favor.
It could be better. You never really know.
Fuck.
Now,
all right. So, is anybody doing anything about this fella? This guy continues walking forward.
We should shoot him if the archers can't bring him down.
Well, so the archers on your side at least are kind of waiting on like, are y'all doing anything, or because they're gonna let him get close if he's by himself. That way the guys can capture him.
Oh, nice.
But just so I have a better understanding of the battle, because I'm still trying to get some data on it. How big of a force is coming? Can we tell that yet?
No, you see like 2 people currently.
Okay.
Because you can't see on the other side of this trench, so you're not seeing them as they fall in until this red line over here. You know, with the exception of that.
I can capture that one there. I just need him to get close so I can get a spell affected on him.
Nice.
Sure, we just don't want to torch them as much as we can and get them to try to use up their magic on these illusions or see if they ignore them.
Well, that's all I was hoping, is maybe, he would notice that big old dragon there, but he doesn't seem to be doing that. So maybe you aren't as
Well,
good
we
as
just
I thought
haven't
you
gotten
were.
that far yet. I'm just managing different things, kind of seeing how y'all reacting.
My vote would be throw the other coin over here as well, and just get some stuff in front of both of these fronts here.
Over
Let
where?
Let me ping. And what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, just get
might as
both
well.
sides.
I just run that coin over and throw it over there as well, and see what they do with that.
Alrighty.
Just all ham, all in.
As you do, another gigantic blue dragon appears once more.
Oh my God, what are
Breathing
the odds?
fire. And as it appears, it almost seems sentient as it looks down at the undead. That's like, when it pops up, it's like beneath the undead's like between its front 2 feet. And it looks down and actually like goes like it's trying to eat it. Like the illusion almost seems sentient at this point.
It's pretty sweet.
As it does, you do see this thing react and swipe at it.
Ooh. Sweet. That's exciting.
Obviously, it doesn't hit. There's nothing there to hit. But it is kind of held up. It's just cleaving away.
I'd say we see how they react to these dragons, and if they bunch up, we try to take them out en masse, or watch for ones to use up their magic, and then if there's folks that are trying to capture them, we'll direct them at the ones that we see use up magic and stop casting magic. But we don't know what they're going to do yet, so I think we just need to let the battle play out and shoot ones that get close or try to capture them. That's my take on it.
I'll actually turn to one of the soldiers on the battlements and, how long do these raids usually last? Is it quick bouts or prolonged fights?
It's always different, sir.
What was the longest?
About 3.5 hours, 4 maybe.
Perfect.
And when did the majority of their forces arrive, or was it steady?
It's just like this. Oh shit! Do not close OBS. And it's like this. It's just constant bombardment. A few at a time, typically.
Thank you. That's insightful.
God damn it. Sorry, sometimes I can't think and talk at the same time.
I feel that, bro. It's one. So, what do you guys think about basically just, I don't know, either starting combat or making it clear what we're going to be doing next session? What do you guys? What's easier on you, Miller? Starting combat now or
no, we should probably wait, but I don't even know that this is leading to combat yet. Y'all technically don't need to do anything. These guys have it. They're just reacting to what you're doing, basically. Mm-hmm. You're not to make this sound like a negative thing, right? But you're the ones that are doing it differently than the way they would usually take care of this. So they're just kind of looking to see, like, half of them don't even know what the fuck's going on.
I have an idea.
I'm definitely interested in watching. What's your idea?
Does anybody have spare cloth? Do you think the magic comes from their eyes? They're attacking the dragon. It's illusionary. Clearly, it's something they see.
Sure, we can find some. Just invisibly, like, maybe tears some cloth off of some guy.
Incredible. Give me that crest, boy. While they're distracted, if one of you has my back, I can shapeshift, drag, and pin them, and you can bind their arms, bind their eyes, and we can leave them face down in a neat little pile outside.
Oh, that could be interesting.
At this time, this one has fallen into the trench that y'all could see. So you no longer see him because he is below the ground. So the light's probably not shining too much in there.
I want to
These
collect one
two
of
are
every
out.
flavor.
One more you are starting to see here. This one is out by this time. This one is out by this time. Forward, forward, forward. This one is in sight. This one is in sight. And this one. All right.
Have we observed them casting any magic against
yet.
these creatures? Interesting.
It's swippity swappity. Okay.
Do any of the defenders have anything to say about that? If asked them, like, do you think they should have cast magic against these things by now?
Usually they don't cast anything until they get closer to the walls. But, I mean, in the last raid, we didn't really let them get anything off. We killed most of them before then. Until there was one left, and we kind of watched it for a while as he walked in closer, and that's the one we captured that Darrigan has.
Cool. I'm curious how many will pile up and attack these dragons before just let loose the juice.
Incredible. Would anybody want to help me in capturing some of these?
That was my goal. I was gonna just get them close and then have them surrender with the spell command.
That could be interesting.
I'd be interested in helping you guys with that. I just don't want to get hit by like 7 of those magic attacks if like we draw the ire of one of them.
Well, I could take.
So far, only 2 of them have made it past the trench.
Okay, let's get out there. Let's start getting them.
Cool.
Well, if they're distracted, I can turn into a probably a wolf form, and then we just go about doing our best to pin while you guys like. Actually, I'm gonna turn into a fucking bear.
Cool. Let's try it. And I'm gonna stay invisible, but I'll be a little bit spread out, knowing they do have that range magic. So I'll try to space a little bit. Hopefully, we don't get caught in another group fire. And if I get hit, then we'll know that they can see invisibility.
Right.
Okay.
Technically,
So we're gonna go ahead and end here, and we'll kind of get into the meat and potatoes of this next week.
Cool.
But thus far, it seems that the trench idea worked pretty well. Most of them are stuck in it. You had a few that were piled up and were able to kind of just climb over, and get out.
makes sense.
But you have 2 extremely impressive illusions that seem to be sentient. This one over here, though there's nobody for it to fight, is actually hovering like above the ground now, flapping its wings, breathing an illusionary fire down into the trench.
Cool.
And the illusion is so specific, you actually see the rolls of the flame bellow and follow the curvature of the trench.
That's sweet.
So cool.
She's good.
Like very impressive illusion.
Kind of absurd.
Nice. Dude, that's
Good
cool.
stuff.
If anything, that's just cool points.
All right.
That's a
all
good
right.
spot to end it.
We will pick up on that next week. For
Nice.
now, let's go to our title screen and say our outros. So thanks everybody who tuned in for watching episode 2 of Ashes of Xeralia. Our party is finally kind of getting into some of the meat and potatoes of the lore here and trying to figure out what these evil little shits are. So, yeah, we'll kick off our outros with. Ooh.
Hey folks, it's me, Two Hands, also known as Fire Ice Man, playing Triniac Ballister, the High Elf, Blade Singer. Thanks.
It is me, J. Crew, who is phasing out of existence because my screen is too dark. Maybe. Who knows? Let me.
Nah, we can see you now.
The sun. I was playing Abi, the Forge Cleric, Earth Ganassi. Thanks for tuning in.
It did work. There we go.
Hello, everyone. I go by Ludria. I was playing Pine, the Druid Shapeshifter Shifter.
Hey.
And once again, I am Miller, your DM. Thank you guys for watching, and tune in next week, 8 Central to 12 Central. Have a great night. Bye.
Yo, stop in the street.